Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to the show. This is Morning Brew on Hughes of the World. I'm Graham Hughes, and this is The World, I assume. Hello to Martin Harrow. Hello to Sarah Davis. Hello to Graham Hallow in the chat. Hello to Vegan Elite. Hello, hello, hello. If you want to subscribe to the channel, you can join our friends in the chat here and get talking about this issue today that we're talking about, which is going to be social media usage ban for under 16s. That's what we're talking about today, Monday, the 15th of June, 2026. So let's get on with it. Social media ban. See, it says it behind me. It's almost as though I set that up to say that while I was saying this. Good morning, says Ice Boo. Hello, Ice Boo. How are you doing? Gillian Hope is in there as well. So is Diz. Hello, Diz. Hello, I missed you yesterday, but you're here now, and that's what matters. Morning, says Liam Fairhurst. I say morning anyway. Did anyone watch the show last night? I thought it was great. A really good show last night for the Sunday night social. Managed to get Mike Galsworthy and Femi Olawale on the show, and Peter Core as well, and Alex Kerr as well as, and also obviously Scott came on to tell us to bring down the level of the conversation massively from what we were talking about at the start of it. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, and you can join me and Scott tonight at 9 o'clock. We'll be doing a special show about mental health, again, called Fucking Mental. So please join us for that. Okay, so what has Starmer announced? He stood up at about, was it 8:15 this morning, or 8 o'clock? Confirmed that the government will ban social media access to social media for all children under 16. When I say ban, I mean actually restrict. We'll get into this because there's a few little ins and outs to this. Plus, this isn't coming into effect until next April, okay? So it's not like you're going to get to drag your kid's phone off them in the next couple of months. You're going to have to wait till next April before this comes in. Starmer has framed it as a big moment for our country and said the government has decided the full ban was the right choice. The ban is expected to apply to major social media platforms used by teenagers, including TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram. Also, X is going to be on the list, obviously. This is apparently Australia Plus, so Australia covers TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, YouTube, Reddit, Twitch, X, Threads, Facebook, and Kick. Also, it might include things like Blue Sky, which is and Macedon, but they didn't rule that out, and it probably will. I can't see the government saying, "Oh well, we'll let this platform exist." You've got the usual right wingers, the right whingers, already saying, "Oh, this is just for the right wing social media platforms." It's not. It's going to be all of them. It's going to be all of them. It doesn't kick in for YouTube kids though. So some services will be protected. So things that are marked as for children on YouTube which is already quite protected. Whenever I do a video here, I have to mark this video as whether it is for children or not, and obviously they're fucking not. If you are a child watching this, please stop. But yes, Starmer said that some services will be protected. WhatsApp's not in this, okay? WhatsApp and Messenger and Signal and Telegram. I didn't say anything about that. Maybe Messenger, because that's tied into Facebook and that's going to be restricted. But Telegram, Signal, and WhatsApp, I have my own personal problems with those platforms, which I'll get into in a bit. The government is also targeting gaming services, where strangers can currently contact children unchecked. And I think Keir Starmer made a really good point this morning when he said, in no other part of life, if you were out on the street or you're just talking to people, meeting people in real life, would you let a stranger talk to your child alone? Like, that wouldn't happen. You wouldn't be at the bus stop and so, there's a sketchy weirdo at the bus stop and you say, I'll tell you what, I'll just leave my 11-year-old stepdaughter here and I'll just go for a walk around the block while you talk to her. But that's what we do online every fucking day. And when I go to talk about WhatsApp, my big problem with WhatsApp is strangers can contact you through WhatsApp. They have your phone number. How do they get your phone number? You get added to groups. You don't know who's in that group. Someone just adds you without your permission. Like sometimes, it doesn't say to the person, do you want to be added to this group with all these strangers in? And it only takes one person in that group, or one person, older brother, older sister, parents that can access that group, and suddenly your kid's got their phone number. Sorry, they've got your kid's phone number. Sorry, even worse. They've got your kid's phone number. And then they can send a message. My rule would be, if your number is not already in someone's phone, you cannot message them. It is as simple as that. So if the kid in question has made, the effort to put your number in their phone, great. But otherwise, you can't message them. And obviously, as a parent, you'd want to have your phone number protected so they can't delete your phone number, so you can't contact them. Okay. So there will be protections put in there, but this is something that we need to do. And I'll come back to this. My solution to this problem on social media, and this has only happened because the tech companies have not done anything to protect our kids. In fact, they've done everything in their power to make the internet as dangerous as possible for our kids, so they can all go fuck off. As far as I'm concerned, I don't give a shit about the profits of Facebook or X or whatever. I don't give a shit because they haven't done anything. They haven't done anything. They've rolled back protections in the last few years, in fact, on things like Facebook. So yeah, that needs to be addressed. The government is also targeting games because obviously there's a lot of gaming systems out there. Roblox is particularly bad for this, where strangers can contact kids. Stop it. If you play Pokemon Go, for instance, strangers can send you can send you a friend request, and they can send you presents. That's it. They can't message you. They can't arrange to meet up through the app. You can't do that. So that's something that needs to be that kind of thing for kids. I would make the tech companies and the platforms work together to make child-friendly phones. For kids who are under 16, they get a different phone, and it is locked in a way that you cannot go on websites. There might be a set of websites that you are allowed to access, and that is it. And anything else, no, you can't go there. Sorry, Makes 4chan looks reasonable. Telegram contains some of the worst media to ever exist. Yeah. Taking into account activities Telegram is used for, it merits a ban. Also, it's a Russian messenger, even if they moved it to Dubai. It is. Waiting for Farage to claim this is an attack on the right and free speech. He's already said that. The right are already saying that because he didn't mention Blue Sky, which fuck all people use, like a fucking windowless room. That Blue Sky. I mean, I use it because I don't use Twitter anymore because it's owned by a twatter. Hughes of the world goes authoritarian kappa. Well, no, I as a dad to two stepdaughters, one who's 11, the other one's 15, and we're right in the midst of this. These kids are the screen generation, and it's affected their mental health. It's affected the mental health of kids across the nation. It's affected their learning capabilities, their attention span. I mean, it's doing serious damage up to and including, to ending it, which is terrifying, absolutely fucking terrifying. And it is enough as a parent just to be keeping an eye on your kid when you can keep an eye on your kid. But with all these all these doors open to them if they've got a phone, and let's be realistic, every kid has a phone now. They just do. We held off for our youngest for a long time, but all of our mates were in a WhatsApp group and they were organising to go out and meet up outside school and stuff, and she wasn't part of it. She'll find out that they all met up without her and she'll burst into tears. What do? You're a parent. You don't want your kid to be crying because they're not hanging out with their mates. You want them to be hanging out with their mates. But also at the same time, the thing that allows them to hang out with their mates shouldn't be the thing that also allows paedophiles to message them. But yeah, ministers are also considering social media curfews for older teenagers, 16 and 17-year-olds. So there isn't a cliff edge problem where suddenly, the gates are unlocked at the age of 16 and you can use as much as you like. And Starmer said the government can move quickly because powers were taken earlier this year to allow action through secondary legislation. He contrasted this with the Online Safety Act, saying that the previous process took 8 years from recognising the problem to passing legislation, saying that this should be ready to go in April next year, which is fast for government. Starmer also said that they'd learned from Australia's under-16 ban and the UK's own experience with the Online Safety Act. And Starmer said that social media is making children unhappy and unsafe, which it absolutely is, And yeah, you might be watching this going, fucking hell, Graham, I thought you were a liberal. Why are you being all draconian on this? No, because the health and happiness of your kids has to come first. Beyond the profits of the big companies and beyond this nebulous, stupid, ridiculous, childish, grow up the fuck up idea that freedom of speech is the most important thing in the world. No, happiness is the most important thing in the world. That's the most important thing. We need to make as many people happy as possible, as long as their happiness doesn't impede on the happiness of others. That's what we should be going for. But no. It's got to be freedom of speech, freedom of speech, freedom of speech, which is an idea adopted from America. We've never had freedom of speech in this country, and we never will have freedom of speech in this country because we don't have a fucking written constitution that codifies that the government may not impede your freedom of speech. The government may impede your freedom of speech in this country, especially if you shout fire in a crowded theatre, or you incite people to riot or burn down a hotel with asylum seekers in it. Quite rightly as well, because the first job of a government is to protect its citizens. You need to understand this. It's not to win online debates or to, just have one particular thing that they care about more than anything else in the world. No, it's to protect their own citizens, the people who live in their country, whether they were born here or not. The government's job is to protect us. And sometimes it completely fails on that grounds. It needs to protect us from foreign invading armies. It needs to protect us from rapists and murderers. It needs to protect us from the diseases and viruses and accidents that could kill us. It needs to protect us from ignorance by not allowing, first of all, people to go through life without going to school. But also, it needs to protect us from the bullshit on the internet. It does a terrible job of that. An absolutely terrible job of that. It's first the most important part of the social contract between us and the government. Why we allow them to rule over us. Why we allow the tax system to exist. Because they're supposed to fucking protect us. And they have failed to protect our children. Now, for the last... How long social media been around now? 20 years? 20 years since the good old days of MySpace? Those jarring graphics and the music that would blare out when you went on someone's profile. Oh, great days. But before I go on any further, I'm going to read some of your messages, but I will set up the confetti cannon. Let me just set this up right now. Otherwise, Diz will shout at me. Don't want to get into Diz's bad books. Diz, are you coming to Liverpool on Monday? Who is anyone in the chat coming to Liverpool on Monday? I'll be there around 7 p.m. in the evening on Saturday after going to the march. Doing it all, mate. Just getting up, going to London, marching for rejoining the EU, then going to Liverpool. Gonna have to have a nice house in Liverpool, aren't I? With you lot, if you want to come. But Jacaranda, 7 o'clock. I will be there. Svak says, make online space for kids, otherwise they will access forbidden media with no protections or contact from them. Yes, that's what I would do, Svak. So you've got that with, say, YouTube Kids, right? I want that sort of thing for all platforms. So there's a Facebook Junior, there's a Snapchat Junior, and there's things that it doesn't allow you to do that you can do on the adult version, you cannot do on the children's version. So Snapchat, for instance, you cannot send a nude picture of yourself to someone on Snapchat. I mean, I'll go even further than that. You can't send anything to anyone on Snapchat if you don't know them personally and have touched phones, for instance, like, using your NFT on your phone to connect with someone. The tech is there. You can fucking do it. You bet your bottom dollar they do this for banking. They protect your bank accounts, right? Using technology more than they protect your children. Just tell you everything you need to know that. Starmer said... singled out bullying, harassment, abuse, dangerous content, and media and mental health harm that is being caused by the infinite scroll, the deliberately addictive design features built in to keep users locked in to their social media platform for hours. He argued that social media steals time from homework, reading, outdoor play, sleep, and ordinary childhood activity. He said teenagers today face a permanent level of recording and exposure that his generation didn't face in the 70s. My generation didn't face in the 80s. I never had to put up with everything I ever did being put online. Jesus, if I did, I would die. Starmer also said he's changed his view after the consultation process and after listening to bereaved parents who had lost teenagers in cases linked to social media. In fact, only 6 months ago, Starmer was saying that he didn't think that a ban was applicable in this country. Looking at the Australia ban, he said, I don't think that's something that we need. But the government consultation received more than 116,000 responses. The government says 90% of parents who responded backed a minimum age of 16 for social media. The government said 85% of parents who responded believe the risks of social media outweigh the benefits. And Starmer said the policy is a choice between a status quo that isn't working and between families. That is it. And the status quo is not working. So how does it work? Here's the question. Like, how does enforcement work? My plan would be to say you have to make a special phone for kids that cannot access anything but kids' apps. And the internet on it is absolutely locked. And you can only go to certain websites that are set up in such a way that they allow kids access to those websites. And there is no workaround. In that, like, there is no workaround to get a Google app to work on your Apple phone. It's that solid. It's like trying to get a Sega Mega Drive cartridge to fit into your N64. It ain't gonna happen, mate. It ain't gonna happen. They're two completely different platforms from the ground up. That's what we need. That's exactly what we need. And make a new OS, make a new OS Junior, make a new Google Android platform. You know, they've all got childish names anyway, so you know that shouldn't be too hard for them. But make it absolutely incompatible with the adult platform. This isn't beyond the wit of humanity, believe me. Starmer did accept that some teenagers will get around the restrictions because phones, they get adult phones. So obviously they can access adult content on the adult phone if they know what they're doing, if they use a VPN or they use some services that allow them to look this stuff up. He rejected the argument that evasion makes the ban pointless, comparing it to underage alcohol laws. Some teenagers get alcohol, but it's not an argument for legalizing alcohol sales to minors, which I agree with that. Australia's model punishes platforms rather than children or parents. Australia fines companies of up to 49.5 million Australian dollars for serious or repeated breaches. So the onus on this is not on the parents, it's not on the kids, it's on the tech platforms. And if kids are accessing those tech platforms, they can be sued for a lot of money. Australia requires platforms to take reasonable steps to keep under 16s off their services. Australia does not allow platforms to rely on users simply self-certifying their age. Age assurance methods can include government ID checks, face or vocal recognition, and age inference based on your internet behavior. Starmer says he believes that, which wouldn't be necessary if you had kids' phones. You know, you get your first phone, it's a Fisher-Price phone, and you can't access this adult stuff. You can't access any adult stuff. You cannot take a picture of yourself naked and send it to a fucking stranger, okay? Starmer believes the UK can enforce a better ban because he's learned from Australia. The practical enforcement question is whether age verification can be made reliable without creating excessive surveillance or privacy risks. Obviously, you wouldn't need that if you had a kid's phone and the parents bought the phone for the kid and they were like, yay, I've got a phone at the age of 11, woohoo! But actually, it's restricted, so they can't go on things that they wouldn't want to go on anyway. And that's the thing, the vast majority of kids don't want to be hassled by sketchy fucking pedos online. They don't want to be contacted. They'd rather just get on with their day. Most kids watch YouTube Kids videos because they're fun for kids. They don't want to be watching videos of people having horrible things done to them. The UK will need to define which platforms are covered, which are exempt, and what counts as a child-safe service. Again, this is something that we will have to go through, and this law needs to be dynamic as well. And we can't fall into the same problem that we did with the drugs law for a very long time, where it had a list of drugs that you weren't allowed to have, you know, illegal drugs. And they kept on creating a new version of the same drugs and just giving them a different name to get around it. We've got to stop that from happening. And that's why I think that this needs to be a positive ban rather than a negative ban. What I mean by that is there is a whitelist of platforms, of apps, of websites that you can go to on a kid's phone. A whitelist. And if you're not on the whitelist, you can't get on. Then none of this, I've just made www.spicy.com and it's a completely different platform to Twitter, although it looks exactly the same as Twitter. It's just got a different name. None of that. None of that. So the arguments for the ban, which I'm broadly in agreement with because I understand the issues with privacy. I understand the problem with surveillance and all that kind of stuff. I do get that completely, but I think that fuck these companies. They've had their chance. They've had 20 fucking years to make their platform safe for children, and they've chosen not to. So fuck them. That's it. They're gone. Like, you know, I don't give a fuck. You know, that this is why self-regulation never works. You see this with the newspapers. They regulate themselves, apparently. And then you got the media, you know, being regulated at Ofcom by some soggy biscuit bastard who went to one of the most expensive schools in the country, along with the people who run GB News, Gammon Box News, just as a mouthpiece for refuck. Been found in breach of Ofcom guidelines. What, 15 times is it now? Still get away with it. Still get away with it. Drip the kid phone idea. It won't work, says blah blah CW. Why? Why won't it work? Explain to me why having a separate phone for kids, a separate setup, separate operating system that only allows certain apps on it, and those apps are tailored towards children, and you cannot be contacted by a sketchy pedo through your phone, which is the situation at the moment, whether you're playing Call of Duty or whether you're on WhatsApp or you're on Facebook or you're on TikTok. Sketchy fucking weirdos can fucking contact you and sit down and have a fucking conversation with you and tell you to take your clothes off. I'm sorry, but like the current setup is absolutely untenable. Absolutely untenable. It's like having a secret fucking phone in your house that only your kid can use, you know, and it's accessible to every paedophile in the land. Great, what a great fucking system. And it takes one. Then it takes one. You know, it's not like, oh well, most parents are responsible and you know, check what the kids are doing. Well, it takes one to not. Makes contact with the paedophile, and then suddenly that paedophile gets access to their group that they're in because they put the paedophile in the group that they're in with all the little mates, and now that paedophile's got everyone's phone number, everyone's fucking phone number from that class in school. You know, a bunch of 11-year-olds, 12-year-olds. So that paedophile can now contact them all. That's the situation that we have at the moment. This is an emergency, and yeah, saying things won't work when we're not even fucking trying to do anything at the moment. Like, I mean, the government are with this, but the tech companies haven't tried. They just haven't fucking tried. They don't give a fuck. They just want the money. They just want everyone locked into doom scrolling. And what makes more money for them? Outrage. You know, I think there should be some fucking guidelines put on for social media for adults as well. Don't understand why they're not publishers, why they can just put anything they want on their platforms, and you know, we're supposed to accept it. Whereas if you're on LBC or you're on you're running a newspaper, you do actually have laws that you have to abide by when it comes to, you know, spreading misinformation, disinformation, slander, libel, defamation, you know. But anyway, so yeah, the take a look at the way Japan does child control, says Fax. Yeah, I'll come to some of the other countries in a moment, because you're actually every tech company going to build a new system that won't really have any real ROI. Yeah, give a fuck. Sorry, have they not got enough money? Does Apple not have enough money? Does Meta not have enough money? Does Elon Musk, the owner of X, not have enough fucking money? Tough. You either have it where you make a phone for kids, or you just don't have a phone for kids. That's it. Basically, kids can't have a phone. They're going to lose fucking billions around the world if this is adopted by countries all over the world. Of course they're going to make a fucking phone. Come on. Like, you think that no one's going to go, hang on. There's a marketing opportunity here to build a phone that's very similar to the phones that we already make, with slightly bit of different hardware, you know, like a chip in it that they, you know, a chip that only allows certain apps to be used on that phone, or certain coding to be used on that phone. And if you try and get around it, the phone bricks. Yeah. And there's no other company making it. You think Samsung aren't going to fucking jump on that? Go, yeah, all right, well, we'll make the phones for under 16s then, and make a fuck ton of money. Of course they fucking will. And like, I don't have the choice at the moment. I, as a parent, want the fucking choice. If I had the choice between buying a kid's phone, a kid-friendly phone for my kids, I would have bought them. But there isn't an option now. You get the adult version with all the pornography and pedophiles inside it that you got to try and protect them from. Like, walk around with a big stick trying to whack over the fucking, you know, all the bad shit on there. And it's over fucking whelming, let me tell you. I've been on the internet now for about 30 fucking years. Some dark fucking corners of this place. Very, very dark corners. And I don't want kids here. I don't want kids watching this shit. You know, I don't want them watching this channel. You know, it's not for them. I want them having a good time. I don't want them waking up every morning going, oh, God, what now? But yeah, easy to do that via the OS, says Martin Howard. No, do it hardware. You can get around the OS. That's the thing. Do it with the hardware. Put a chip in them. Put a chip in these phones. So they're adult phones, but they've got a chip in. And you can't get the chip out. If you try and take the chip out with a screwdriver, the phone bricks. You try and alter the OS, the phone bricks. I mean, look, this isn't something that they can't do. Stop pretending like, oh, this is going to be very difficult for the tech companies. Fuck them. Start from this mentality. Fuck the tech companies, okay? They've got enough money. They can deal with this shit. They've allowed paedophiles to get in touch with children for years. They've allowed children to be bullied online for years to the point of suicide. They've allowed systems that they've set up where the child can take a naked picture of themselves and send it to a complete fucking stranger. They've allowed that system to be set up. Fuck them. Like, I don't give a crap about the fucking bottom line. In fact, they'll probably make more money out of this because you'll buy your kids a kid's phone, and then when they're old enough, you'll buy them an adult phone. Of course you will. So anyway, here's the arguments for the ban. It gives parents a clear legal line instead of leaving each household to fight a $1 trillion fucking attention machine alone. You know? Like, please, give us some fucking help here. All right? Throw me a lifeline. It shifts responsibility from parents and schools onto platforms that design these addictive and predatory systems. It's predatory as in keeping their attention, but also it's a playground for predators. Tell me now how WhatsApp stops strangers from texting my kids at the moment. If they get my kids' phone numbers, how does WhatsApp intervene? Does it read the messages? No, it's end-to-end encrypted. What does it do? It's up to my kids to say, oh, you know, we've been sent this fucking message from this number I don't know. But they do that at the moment. A couple of years' time, maybe they won't. I don't know. And you think about how many fucking old people are conned on the internet all the fucking time. I mean, going back to the Nigerian prince scams 20 years ago, right through to today. And that's grown-ups, that's adults being conned out of all their fucking money. And you're expecting an 11-year-old kid to know what to do. I don't know. I just think that the current situation, it is outrageous and unacceptable. And although all things being equal, I wouldn't want to have to ban these things outright because of, you know, the difficulties of doing that. The tech companies should have taken the bull by the horns years ago, and they realized that their platforms were doing harm. So fuck them. This will make it harder for strangers to contact children through mainstream social platforms and game adjacent services. It creates a regulatory incentive for companies to build child-safe versions of their products. You know, I was talking about Pokemon Go. It's great. You know, you can make friends with someone. I don't use it anymore because it's owned by Saudi Arabia, but you can make friends with someone and you don't know them. You don't know what they look like. You don't know what they smell like. You don't know anything about them. They can't message you. They can just send you presents from where they've been, you know, so you can tell that they live in Spain. That's about it. But here's the problem, right? So you're a kid playing Pokemon Go, and then you want to meet up because there's a big monster that you've got to beat, and you need 20 people to beat this thing, right? So then you get on Discord and you join a Pokemon Go group on Discord, which is full of fucking anyone. There's no restrictions. So you can be 11-year-old kids going on Discord, going, let's meet up at the city centre at 12 o'clock. They don't know who they're meeting. Could be anyone. It's not safe. It's genuinely not safe, and that's a game-adjacent service that kids have access to. And like I say, it should not be banned for everyone, of course. It'll be daft. But for kids under the age of 16, I don't see why that's necessary for them to be able to do that kind of thing. If their parent wants to help them play Pokemon and go along with them to go and meet a bunch of strangers in the city centre to go and, you know, take down some massive fucking mega Pokemon, then fine, you know, whatever. But the kids themselves shouldn't be organising that shit, especially with adults. It could be anyone. And it creates a regulatory incentive for this ban, and the Australia ban, and why I support them at the moment is because it creates a regulatory incentive, and that's all these companies are ever going to fucking respond to for these companies to build child-safe versions of their products, which isn't there at the moment. And if kids get around it and they still use the adult version on phones, then great, we can sue these companies for not doing enough. To the point where they put pressure on the phone manufacturers to say, you have to make phones that cannot access the adult services. End of. And the simple public health message here is that adult social media platforms are not suitable environments for children. They're really fucking not. I don't think they're suitable fucking environments for adults, to be honest with you. And this will reduce peer pressure because fewer children will feel like they're not the only one not allowed on a platform. It addresses late night phone use and sleep disruption that parents routinely struggle to control, even with. So you put on, let's talk about the situation at the moment, right? As a stepfather, okay? So we have Google Family, right? So it restricts how much time the kids can spend on watching videos on YouTube, for instance. But the thing is, there's lots of different ways of watching things on YouTube, right? So you can watch it on the YouTube app, and that's capped at half an hour a day, right? And then what they'll do is they'll go into Chrome, and then they'll watch it on Chrome, and then they'll maybe they'll go on to incognito mode and get another half an hour, and then maybe because it's half an hour per app, and then maybe they'll go into Firefox and get another half hour. And then maybe they'll go to some other platform and then watch YouTube through the other platform, which you can do. If someone sends you a YouTube video on WhatsApp, you can watch the YouTube video without signing into the YouTube app. It'll just appear in the WhatsApp chat. Things like that, right? There's a way round. There's always a fucking way round. So the tools that parents have at the moment are not sufficient for things like there is nothing on on WhatsApp that says if an unknown number comes through with a message, it automatically pings the parents to say, hey, some unknown is messaging your kids and this is what they're saying. I think we should have this for older people as well. I think we should have a social media ban for people over the age of 65. They clearly don't know what they're doing either. But yeah, let's not go that far just yet. It also recognizes that children are not just choosing to use apps, they're being targeted by systems designed to lock them in, maximize the time on the platform, because that means money. It creates a baseline rule that can be improved with platform-specific design requirements. And also, I want to have a look at YouTube Kids, right? Because we make these videos for kids, right? And at the moment, we have a ban on advertising of certain things towards kids. So when you're watching kids shows on TV, on ITV, Channel 4, they're not allowed to advertise certain things like fast food now. But, it started off, it was like, alcohol, gambling couldn't be advertised. And it's moved on since then. It was to buy this fucking moisturizer, which is £50 for a little fucking tub of little squirty thing of E45 with some perfume in it, because perfume is really good for moisturizing your skin. I just pumped out all the time by YouTube. I would ban fucking advertising to children at all. If you tick the box that says this contains product placement on your YouTube video, it's not allowed to be sold to kids. It's not allowed to go on kids. No, you're not using it to sell stuff to kids. You make enough fucking money, Google. Fuck off. Anyway, so look, let's have a look at the arguments. Super chats are off. What? Super chats are off? Oh no. Oh no. I thought people weren't arguing with me enough. Maybe I wasn't being... Oh, there you go. Martin Harrow. What? No, Martin Harrow. Testing. Thank you very much for your testings. Your testes. I mean, your testicles. I mean, your testing. Martin Harrow. That is very kind of you, my friend. I don't know what's happening there. I don't know what's happening. Let me have a look at my stream settings. Oh, monetization. It's on. It says it's on. Oh, live chat. Live chat translation. God, that must be fun. Does anyone translate the live chat? Live commentary. Okay. No. Yeah, thanks, Martin. It seems to be working. I don't know. Plants McGee, have a look. Okay, let's have a look at the arguments against the ban. All right. Jeff True says there is ROI when the kids get used to what's the WhatsApp Junior. They will be more likely to pick up WhatsApp adults when 18. Yeah. You constantly complain about simple solutions to complex problems. Says blah blah CW. I didn't say it was going to be easy. I didn't say it was easy. I didn't say this was going to be an overnight fix. It's certainly not. But having a thing that bricks if you try and do any adult thing on it, and that's to be restarted by the parents who have an access code that can start it again. Great, fucking bring it on. Make my life easier, for Christ's sake. But let's have a look at the arguments against doing this. What's Martin's good idea? You can't get around it if the parents set it up and you lock out the adult OS when setting it up, password controlled. Yes, Martin, but I would have separate phones. I know that this is probably going a bit too far, but I would have phones that are specifically made for kids. That means that I don't have to monitor the fucking kids' use all the fucking time. It's hard enough just getting on with all the shit I've got to do in my life, you know? I do these shows, do my research, do my writing. I've still got to fucking tidy the house and do the dishes. You know, we don't have a cleaner, for fuck's sake. Still got to drop the kids off at school and pick them up. Still got to fucking take them to the scouts or the, after school shit that they do. Still got to keep on top of all that. Still got to go to Liverpool, see me mum and dad, make sure they're all right. Still got loads of things to do in my life. And on top of that, you got to try and find some time to relax and have a good time. I haven't vegged out in front of the TV for years, for fucking years. I can't remember the last time I watched free-to-air TV and just watched it, whatever came on next. I target my watching time because I've got between, 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock. I know that I've got an hour to watch something. So I go, right, I'm going to watch TikTok at that time. Tiptoe. I'm going to watch Tiptoe at that time. I'm going to watch, whatever it is I watch on TV. I have special time. So I don't feel like I'm wasting my time, relaxing. And on top of that, we've got to make sure that our kids 24 hours a day aren't using their phones for nefarious, well, not them necessarily using it for nefarious ends, but, someone contacting them for nefarious ends. I haven't even mentioned the toxic male manosphere fucking shit yet. I'll get onto that. But yeah, so arguments against the ban. Teenagers may evade restrictions with fake ages, older siblings' accounts, VPN or borrowed devices. Okay, borrowed devices I can't do anything about. Fake ages, older siblings' accounts, VPNs wouldn't work on a phone that was built specifically for children. A blanket ban may push children towards less regulated spaces, including encrypted groups, fringe apps, or unsafe forums. Something that couldn't happen if you had a phone that only worked with certain apps that were whitelisted. And there was no way around it. Absolutely no way around it. In the same way that you can't download whatever the fuck you want off the Apple Store. Apple have been demons for this for years. You have to be approved by Apple in order to get into the Apple Store. Obviously Google's a bit more loosey-goosey about all this kind of stuff, but it's not beyond their capabilities to stop children from getting hold of this stuff. And I think that having a phone that does not allow them to is a lot less stressful for parents across the country with teenage kids. A lot less stressful to just think, well, they can't access this. If I give my stepdaughter a Game Boy and go on, have fun on that, great. No one can contact her on that. She can just sit there playing fucking Tetris all day. That's not to bore the living crap out of her, but you can do that if that's what she wants to do. And I know that no one can contact her on that fucking Game Boy. No one can contact her on the N64 playing GoldenEye. What a great game. But if she's playing anything on Roblox, I know that some fucking sketchy weirdo from anywhere in the world can fucking contact her. And we have to keep an eye on it all the fucking time. And I'm exhausted. I'm tired. I'm just fucking tired. Why can't we have things that just allow us as adults, as parents, just to fucking relax for once? Just to let our guard down just a little. Just to, have a little bit of me time on the fucking couch. Just to be able to sit there and go, it's okay, there's literally nothing to do. There's no fires to put out at the moment. There's no fucking fires to put out. Wouldn't that be great? But no. Can't have that. We can't have nice things because the tech companies want to keep making money. And if that means exposing children to harmful content and pedophiles, then, they're going to continue doing this. One of the other things that we need to look at, though, as a reason to not do this is look at a different solution. Vulnerable young people may lose access to support networks, identity-based communities, or mental health information. This is where schools need to step in. Because when I was a kid, and the internet was in its fucking infancy, there was no support network on the internet that I knew of. At the age of 16, there was no internet for me to help me with, LGBT issues, because we weren't allowed to talk about that in school, were we? Because we were under Section 28 at the time. Identity-based communities or mental health information. So yeah, we do need to have these things set up, but they need to be set up through school, through outside groups. And one of the things that I've spoken about in the past, and I don't want to derail the conversation this morning, is that we really need to look at things like homeschooling and regulate the living fuck out of it to stop people doing it. Because I know that most homeschool kids, turn out all right, I suppose, and most of the parents who do it, who treat their kids really well, but the access to abuse is far too high, as far as I'm concerned. Way too high. And if you want to abuse your children, the best way to get away with it is to make sure they don't go to school, so that no one else sees them. No one sees the bruises. No one gets to have a moment with them without the parent there standing over the shoulder, making sure they don't say the wrong thing. So access to support networks, identity-based communities, or mental health information is something that we need to bring back into the real world anyway. So this is all like part and parcel of it. Okay, well, what are you going to do about that? Okay, I'll tell you what we're going to do about that. We are going to introduce better mental health support for kids in schools. Counselors, pastoral care, going, where kids really feel valued and listened to, and support groups in real life with their peers, not with some sketchy fucking weirdos on the internet. You don't want some 47-year-old man giving fucking sex advice to a fucking 12-year-old child, do you? No. Okay, well, let's end this system and make sure that everyone who talks to your children about stuff like that is reasonably fucking vetted. So yeah, young people who use social platforms for creativity, campaigning, learning, or small businesses may be cut off from useful tools. No, learning, you're still going to have learning platforms on a child's phone. There will be learning platforms. They'll have to be, and like I say, this isn't going to be easy, but setting up, for instance, a platform for schools to take part in where they can send homework out and stuff like that based on the national curriculum, which we have anyway, for kids to use, because we know that kids use their screens to do homework, etc. Right? For creativity, as far as that's concerned, for many years, Photoshop was not attached to the internet in a meaningful way. It's not like you could use AI to generate your backgrounds or to key out a certain character or whatever you wanted to do. You couldn't do that, and so you do. What does it matter? You can have programs that are not connected to messaging apps that allow you to make pictures on your phone or on your laptop. You still have access to the Adobe suite, I'm sure. So anything that you mentioned, like creativity, campaigning, learning, or small businesses, there will be things set up on on my dream of having like a special phone, so kids can have access to Facebook. Kids can have access to fucking Twitter. It's just Twitter fucking Junior, and then they can't access fucking the male toxic masculinity fucking networks. They can't access any kind of I don't know. I think actually Twitter should be banned in this country anyway, but that's by the by. But the junior version doesn't allow them access to all the harmful content. Don't forget, it's hardcore pornography on Twitter. A ban would risk arguably a cliff edge at 16. This was brought up in the questions after the Prime Minister's been speaking, where teenagers suddenly enter adult platforms without having built safer digital habits, so that there won't be a cliff edge. They're talking about curfews for 16 and 17-year-olds. And age verification may require intrusive data collection if not designed carefully. And this is one of the arguments that I would make. With a junior phone, you wouldn't need the age verification shit, because you just wouldn't have access to the adult stuff on there anyway. I've got to keep arguing for this, because I think it's the most sensible way forward for these companies to say, right, you are not allowed to sell your phones to under 16s unless you make a child-friendly phone. Apple Junior, little Apple. But yeah, there is the risk of big tech outsourcing age checks to opaque third-party systems with weak accountability. Again, something that is solved by having a separate bit of fucking hardware for the kids to use. Some platforms are mixed use. YouTube, Reddit, and Twitch can host educational content, entertainment, communities, and harmful materials at the same time. Yeah, that's the problem. That is the problem. I mean, it's mad, isn't it, that we've gone from a country where the right wing were constantly going on about censoring the television and censoring fucking VHS tapes, the 88 video nasties of the 1980s, where even adults weren't allowed to access them. This used to still does boil my piss, that when I was younger, it wasn't just that I wasn't allowed to watch these movies, that were rated 18 at the cinema. They were R in America, so I could have gone with my mum or dad. I could have gone with my uncle or something. I could have gone to the cinema to watch a movie that was, an adult film. Not an adult film, you know what I mean? But you haven't restricted in America. So you can still go and see Alien. You can still go and see Terminator as long as you go with an adult who says, yeah, I'm cool with my kids seeing them. We don't have that in this country. We had a strict 18 certificate. So if you weren't 18, you weren't supposed to go and see that fucking movie at the fucking cinema, which I think is fucking bonkers, but there you go. I think the top rating should be 16, and it should be, with anything under that with a parent. I think that the age restrictions on films shouldn't be a restriction. It should be advice. It should be advisory to say this is a film that your kid shouldn't watch alone, or you have to take responsibility if your kid goes to see it. But yeah, that's by the by. My big bugbear was that in the 80s and into the 90s, they will ban movies in this country. Literally ban them straight out. Straw Dogs, fucking banned. Clockwork Orange was banned by the director. That's slightly different. But you also had like The Passion of the Christ. Why was that banned? Because of blasphemy. So no adult could watch it in this country. The Passion of the Christ. Why can't I watch that? Oh, it's blasphemous. This was in the 1980s, my friends, and into the 1990s. Reservoir Dogs was banned in this country on VHS as a response to, a slew of video bannings. And I was just like, what? This is fucking ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. And it was the right wing doing it. It was Mary Whitehouse complaining about swearing on Channel 4, after 9 o'clock. She was complaining about Tom and Jerry. She wanted to ban fucking Tom and Jerry cartoons because she thought they were too violent and would encourage kids to throw their little brother into a fucking oven because that's what happened in the cartoon. Monkey see, monkey do. These people didn't live in the same real fucking world. But now that the right wing are all into the sort of the tech pro side of things. They're all like, oh no, freedom of speech should expose children to all kinds of violence and sexual content without any safeguards whatsoever. Freedom of speech. It's the same fucking people. It's the same posh, privately educated fucking aristocrats saying the same fucking thing. Come on. Hardcore, exactly, Apple core, don't buy an apple, says Al. Yeah, rotten to the core. Graham, as far as I know, Japan are doing what you want, but higher level, not on a phone level. It's the most expensive solution, though. OS lock is an easier sell. OS lockout is an easier sell, says Martin Harrow. Yes, but I do worry, Martin, about there being workarounds around that. I know we say, if they try and change their OS, it bricks. But I would worry that, people are trying to hack fucking your password 24/7, and if there is any way around it, I want that to be stopped. I want it so that a phone cannot be unlocked. There's no way to stop it. There's no way to make these phones access the stuff that we don't want them to access. They just physically cannot do it because there is a whitelist, and if a website or an app is not on the whitelist, it cannot be used on that phone. It just cannot. It was The Last Temptation of Christ, not The Passion of. Sorry, OCD. No, The Last Temptation of Christ, I don't think that was banned. It might have been. But I think it was The Passion of Christ. There were homosexual elements to it. The Passion of... Oh, no, it wasn't Last Temptation. No. Shit, what was it called? It wasn't The Last Temptation. It wasn't The Last Temptation. I know that got into trouble, but I still think you could get that on VHS. I'll have to look that up. Martin Scorsese film. Was it of Christ, was it banned? Sorry, I'm lying. It's called Visions of Ecstasy. Visions of how do you spell ecstasy? There you go. Visions of Ecstasy. Is that a short film? Oh no, maybe it wasn't that. Yes, there you go. Short film, directed by Nigel Wingrove. And it was refused certification by the British Board of Film Classification on the grounds of blasphemy, 1989. Short movie, Visions of Ecstasy. Sorry, I was getting that mixed up. You're right. It wasn't Passion of the Christ. That was that fucking torture porn movie, wasn't it? With directed by well-known anti-Semite Mel Gibson. I can only imagine that he masturbated himself furiously while making that movie at the idea of a Jew being treated in that way. But there you go. But yeah, Visions of Ecstasy. Banned for blasphemy in 1989 by the BFC. Blasphemy. At the end of the 20th century. And no adult could watch it. An adult could watch it in France or in Canada or America or in Romania or wherever. Couldn't watch it in the UK. An adult couldn't watch it. And that's just bonkers to me. But now the same people who wanted that movie, short film, banned for being blasphemous are the same people that saying now, oh, we should allow kids to access anything online. Anything else is a curtailment of our freedom of speech, which is an American thing. It's not a British thing. I've just been temptation going around my head, but which one? I also don't allow adults into kids' spaces. Only children's parents can get access, but just as observers, not to talk to other kids. Yeah. I mean, it's facts. For instance, a couple of years ago, went to a scout camp with the kids, and we stayed over. Me and my partner both had to get DBS checks before we were allowed to camp with the kids, which we've done loads of times before, and on campsites and stuff like that. But because there were other children around, strict rules about that. You got to have a DBS check. There was also what's the other thing? Oh yeah, taking pictures of kids. So for school fun days and things like this. I don't know if you're not a parent, you might not be aware of this, but if the kids are doing a performance, school play, or a fun day, or whatever, you're not allowed to take pictures because the picture might have other kids in it. So you're allowed at the end of it to take a picture of your own child, but you're not allowed to take a picture of all the kids together. The school can do that, and parents can or will not give permission for their children's faces to be used on public on social media. Now, when I was a few years ago, when my partner said, we're not going to allow any of the girls' pictures to be put on social media, on Facebook or anything to do with the school, and I was like, oh, I don't know. What can someone do with just a picture of a child's face? Yeah, but we've had that question answered to us by the richest man in the world, the world's first trillionaire, and his pedo-friendly AI system, Grok, which allows you to literally undress little girls as long as you've got a picture of their face. So yeah, I'm glad that Kat put her foot down at that time and said, no, those pictures are not going online. Is DBS something like the American registry? DBS check is a criminal record background check to make sure that you've got no criminal record before you work with children. Also, don't allow, I've read that one. The freedom of speech will shut you up if you say something they don't like. Yes, that's a good point, Peter Paints a lot. Very good point. Gallifreyan man, yeah, having thought about it while I was making breakfast, my biggest issues with this announcement are A, don't trust Labour to run a bath right now. Yeah, okay, fair enough. That's a legitimate concern, Gallifreyan Wren, considering all that's happened. So yeah, was Last Temptation of Christ banned on VHS as well? I remember Reservoir Dogs being banned and Man Bites Dog not being banned. And if you've ever seen the movie Man Bites Dog, I mean, sorry, trigger content warning. There's a bit where he rips open a pregnant woman. I mean, fucking hell. You can come back now. I mean, Jesus Christ. That is like horrifically graphically violent at that movie. It's a Belgian movie, right? Called Man Bites Dog, right? And it's about a film crew that follow around a serial killer as he does his kills, right? And it's fucking horrific, right? I wouldn't recommend it. I don't even think it's a particularly good film, and I don't think it should have been banned for adults. It was restricted for children, obviously, it would have to be. But yeah, the fact that they banned Reservoir Dogs, so that was like a known movie, and they said, no, we're not going to ban this foreign language film because only intelligent people watch. The upper echelons watch these foreign language films, and dickheads won't watch it and then copy it and go out and do similar things. What I find crazy as well is the fact that the murder rate and the rate of violence in society has been dropping since the 1980s. At the same time, we've been given access to pretty much anything we want to watch online. There's no banned content anymore because there's some way you can find it on some kind of bay of privateers off the coast of Costa Rica. Since every kid already has an adult phone, doing it by hardware would have to be a lengthy transition unless parents are made to confiscate and replace them. Well, Ross, I agree. I mean, this is a long-term project, but kids get a new phone every few years because the phone manufacturers are putting planned obsolescence into these motherfuckers, so they just don't work anymore. I used to have an iPhone Touch, right? Not an iPhone Touch, just an Apple Touch, right? Whatever, right? And it was a present for Christmas in 2009. off the production company that I made the TV show with, Lonely Planet, right? And at first it was great. It wasn't a phone, it wasn't an iPhone, but it did a lot of things that an iPhone did. So I could play games on it. I could play Monkey Island on it. I remember. I could also put my Lonely Planet. They filled it with every single Lonely Planet, every single one that they published went on that phone. So it was an iPod Touch. That's what it was called, an iPod Touch. It was basically a glorified iPod, but you could put documents on it, PDF documents. So I had every single Lonely Planet guide on it. And it was a fucking nightmare, right? Because I thought at first it was great. I could use it for Skype. So I could actually use it. It didn't have a video function at the time, but I could use it to make phone calls for free if I could get onto Skype, which was fantastic for when I was traveling. And I used it throughout 2010. I used it throughout 2011. And then in 2012, right, first of all, I had to update the OS, right? So, fucking okay, I've got to update the OS, right? And one of the things that happened the first time, actually, before I had to update the OS, the first time I plugged it into my iTunes, it deleted all of the PDFs that Lonely Planet had given me because they weren't my PDFs. Plus, you needed to buy a PDF reader in order to read the PDFs. So here's a weird thing. You could see your emails on it. So you got your emails, and if you got an email PDF attachment, you could press on it, and it would show the PDF. So there was obviously some native PDF software on it to allow you to watch, to look at PDFs. But otherwise, you had to spend like £2 on a PDF viewer. God, they love to nickel and dime you, don't they? To read anything that was like in a folder, right? So, but then I plug it into iTunes. I lose them all. Lose absolutely everything, that all those PDFs that were given to me, because you're not allowed to gift things using Apple products. You can't buy something for someone else and give it to them. They've got to buy it themselves, obviously. So I lost all them, which was a bit shit. But luckily I had a backup. But they weren't on my phone anymore. But then they had to do these regular updates, right? And so I got the phone. Let's say I got it at Christmas 2009. So it would have been 2012. I was traveling. I was in Hong Kong at the time, and the guy that I was staying with was a massive Apple acolyte. You know, the people who were part of the Dirty Mac Brigade. The Dirty iMac Brigade. And I'm like, oh, I've got to update my OS on this. And he's like, oh, no worries. And I said, I've got to back everything up before I do it. He said, don't worry, I've got a MacBook. We can do it. So he set it all up, backed it all up onto his MacBook. And then he said, right, update your OS. So I updated my OS, right? Got up in the morning, OS updated. And then we went to the iTunes and said, restore. It was grayed out. It was grayed out. We couldn't restore all the stuff. Lost everything. Lost absolutely everything. Couldn't even access it on the computer. There's photos on there. There's music. There was video. There was lost it all like that. Steve Jobs took it away. Although I think he was dead by then, so I'll blame Tim Cook, or Tim Apple as I like to call him. Okay, that's a bit shit. Oh well, glad all my games as well. All my games. I had games on there. All of them gone. All my save games gone. Absolutely everything gone. And at that moment, it must have been early 2012. So I'm going to say it was about March or April 2012 was in Hong Kong, right? And yeah, Skype wouldn't work anymore on the iPod Touch from that moment on. From that OS update, Skype grayed out, wouldn't work. The only reason why I had it. And I kept it with me because I put some more new songs on it. So I sort of used it to listen to songs. And one day I was on a beach in Uluwatuna in Sri Lanka, and it fell out my pocket, and fuck it. I was like, okay, whatever. Didn't give a fuck. It was fucking useless at that point. Just like, I don't care. If it had happened to my phone, if I lost my phone, I would have been like, oh, I'm really upset. But this is like, all I could use it for was listening to music. Planned obsolescence. So after a few years, you get your kids a new phone. You just do. So yeah, and any kids coming on into the online world at the age of 11 or whenever you decide it should be, will get a junior phone. And do you know what else this would also help with? Giving phones to younger kids, because at the moment, kids have tablets up to the age of 11, which can't access the internet in the same way. You can't have strangers contacting them on the tablet necessarily, and then they sort of graduate to getting a phone. And so, yeah, I mean, this is a 5-year project, I guess, to do this. Obviously, manufacturing things are going to have to change, but they come up with a new slightly differently shaped phone every year. I mean, the shape of the angles of phones and the thickness of phones changes microscopically every fucking year. And they're like, look at this new thing. And it's like, it's the same thing that we've had for the last fucking 18 years with smartphones. I love my iPod Touch. Alas, my mobile audiobook library got dropped in the bath one too many times after a decade of service. Watership Down was scary enough as a kid. That said, there was the Chewits monster. I think the drop of violence correlates with drop in lead usage, says Svax. Yeah, I agree with that. Svax, absolutely 100%. Since every kid already has an adult phone, doing it by hardware would have a lengthy transition. Yeah, that's what I was addressing on that point, Ross. I think you're right. Yeah, it would have a lengthy transition. But yeah, that's something that we have to do. And yeah, in the meantime, I agree. Yeah, we could do that. What the self-righteous couldn't take about Clockwork Orange was that the violence was balletic, even playful, says Colin Baker. And the problem was, in this country, that dickheads dressed up as Alex and his droogs and started going around beating up people who were homeless. And Stanley Kubrick couldn't fucking stomach that, so he said, I'm banning it in this country. It wasn't banned in any other country, I don't think. Just banned in Britain. And that was the director's decision. And as soon as Stanley Kubrick carked it in 1999, suddenly Clockwork Orange was available. I had a copy of Clockwork Orange and Reservoir Dogs that I bought in Denmark. So I had Danish. They were in English, but with Danish subtitles. And my God, did they get passed around our school? Jesus Christ. I think every kid in my class like borrowed a copy of it because it was banned. So it made it more like, ooh, the forbidden fruit. But yeah, Clockwork Orange. People don't talk about it as much these days. Obviously, because an entire generation, my generation, grew up not really seeing it, I guess. But I would add that to the list of movies that go out to explore the nature of toxic masculinity and male violence. But, and this is an issue that has been brought up with the movie Obsession, it's also a problem that we have with movies like Fight Club. It's seen through the male protagonist's gaze. And therefore, they're seen as a sympathetic character. You kind of feel bad for Alex when he gets beaten up by his old droogs, and then because they're now police officers. Sorry, spoilers. You feel bad for him for everything he suffers through towards the end of the movie, but he kind of deserves it. But you don't feel that way because he is the protagonist, rather than the straight up antagonist. You're watching the movie through his eyes, through his experiences. I don't. There's not much in the way of scenes in Clockwork Orange that don't involve Alex. I think he's in pretty much every scene in the movie, and he's the narrator of the movie as well. American Psycho, that's another one seen through the male gaze. That is, it's trying to tell one story to people about, again, toxic masculinity. It's just another form of toxic masculinity in American Psycho. But you could argue misses the mark because people misinterpret it, because the main character is the protagonist is the problematic person. And by the end of it, do you really feel like they're problematic? Have a look at how many forums are out there slagging off Skylar from Breaking Bad. Whereas if you watch Breaking Bad, she makes the decisions that she has to fucking make in that. Her husband is gone fucking mad and is making crystal meth. He's the bad guy. He's the bad guy doing bad things. But Skylar gets way more fucking stick than he does because you're watching it through his eyes. You're experiencing it through his eyes. So, yeah, I would add Clockwork Orange to the list of movies that I think people get wrong, or people take away the wrong message from it. Clockwork Orange also misses out. If you ever read the book, it's Anthony Burgess who wrote the book. If you ever read the book, there's an extra chapter on the end after he smashes it. He wants to smash his eggy wags, where Alex has adjusted to the everyday life and just got on, become a normal person, going up an escalator in a normal fucking shopping mall in the future. It looks a lot like the Barbican. Yeah, he's just getting on with his life because he got bored. Literally gets bored of the old ultra-violence. And he grows up. Skylar is a victim, clearly. He did rape her. He absolutely raped her in the TV show. So we're talking about Skylar in Breaking Bad, yeah. But, Walter's the bad guy in it. He's absolutely the bad guy. I've read the book of Clockwork Orange twice. It's very good. It is very good. And I'm going to have a shit. TMI, well, I'm trans. Apparently my life is everyone's business. I thought I'd share in advance. Okay, yeah, I'll allow it, but be sure to allow the bottom inspectors to come in later on to make sure that you've wiped properly, and also if you can get give them a little net so they can fish the poo out the toilet to make sure that is the correct toilet for you to be using, because otherwise, the TERFs will have an awful day. I mean, they'll wake up in the morning and they'll think they're not being accepted by society, and then they'll think, well, what's the point of getting out of bed? So you don't want that to happen to a TERF. I mean, they've only got £1 million each, but they're all these wealthy. Oh no, actually, J.K. Rowling's got $1 billion. Fucking Elon Musk, the massive TERF, has got a fucking trillion. He's also got a trans daughter. Can't do anything about that, can you, Elon? About your trans daughter that you don't talk to, you fucking knobhead. Anyway, yeah, got to make sure it's the right toilet, or Rowling will spy on you. Yeah, exactly. Why is the PM on this morning? Easier interview after his announcement. This is something that me and Phil have said that they should be doing every morning at 8 a.m. is doing a press conference, and that they did it today. I mean, a lot of things that we've been saying that Starmer should have done ages ago, he seems to be starting to do now. There's been 2 Zoom meetings in the last week or so, with there's one coming up with Starmer and any Labour members who want to join the Zoom meeting. That's something that we were saying that should be done fucking ages ago. It's a bit late now. He's on his way out, but this is stuff that he should have done years ago. But also, not picking on trans people should have been something that he should have done years ago. In the same way that they should be making a positive case for immigration from their pulpit, from their press conferences. We need immigrants, right? It's come to our attention that we need immigrants. This is why, X, Y, Z. But we don't get that. And I find that sad. I find that ridiculous that he's in this position that he could be trumpeting the rights of immigrants, trumpeting the rights of gay, lesbians, bisexuals, trans people, saying it is the duty of this government to make everyone who lives in this country, who is abiding by the law and not hurting any other human being, to make them feel safe and cared for and an important part of our society. And as that is an immutable fact of our social contract, therefore we are going to go out of our way to make trans people feel included and make people who are horrible, like TERFs, feel excluded. You don't like trans people? Okay, well, don't go outside then, because there's all trans people out there. You don't like gay people? Okay, don't go outside. There's gay people out there. You don't like people from Pakistan? Fine, don't go outside. There's people from Pakistan there. Tough shit. How about you don't be a bigot and you just live in society with people from all walks of life who aren't doing any fucking harm? Speaking of mocking Rowling, I bet she's miserable. Me, I have a birthday present arriving this morning. Happy birthday, Gallifreyan, and I'll have pizza and watch Lord of the Rings later. Oh, hear that, Voldemort? I'm happier than you. You are. You absolutely are. She is a miserable old crank. She is not happy. She's got £1 billion and she's not happy. She's awake at 3 o'clock in the morning texting about how much she hates trans people. That's not the actions of a happy person. You know what I mean? You're in the park with your friends having a picnic, a bottle of wine, fucking having a great time, having a laugh. And there's one of your mates and they're standing under a tree, sobbing, head against the tree. What's wrong? What's wrong, head against the tree person? Oh, trans people exist. I just can't have a good time with my friends. Oh, what a shame. And then do you invite them to the next picnic? Do you fuck? Because they're bringing down the vibe. And that's what TERFs do. That's what transphobes do. That's what homophobes do. That's what racists, bigots, the anti-Semites, the Islamophobes, that's what they do. They bring down the fucking vibe. I just want to have a good time. I just want to have a party. I don't care what fucking toilet you piss in. Does not matter one little bit. If you assault someone in the toilet, if you look over the top of the fucking cubicle, then that's a crime. You've well done, dickhead. You've committed a crime. But if you don't do those things, you haven't committed a crime. Go about your business. Thank you very much. Literally go about your business. Happy birthday, Ren! Yay! I'm going to do this. Wasn't it Ren's birthday a couple of days ago? But I'm going to do this anyway. This is for Ren. Happy birthday, Ren! Woo! Yes! Another successful orbit of the sun. And thank you. I want to say a big thank you to all of my all the trans people who watch this channel. Thank you for sticking with us. I know we don't get everything right all the time, but also thank you for existing. Thank you for bringing life and colour and a bit of excitement to our otherwise drudgery-filled fucking lives on this planet. And thank you for upsetting the fucking turfs. Thank you. Thank you for making J.K. Rowling wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning in a cold sweat, crying her eyes out, because she'll never be happy again. Oh well. Try not being a twat. Try not. Have you woken up one morning ever, J.K. Rowling, and looked in the mirror and thought, do you know what? I won't be a massive cunt today. No, she hasn't. Clearly, maybe she used to. Doesn't anymore. Happy birthday! That was Chris's birthday the other day. Says Martin Harrow. Yay! Speaking of mocking Rowling, it was Trump's birthday yesterday. He had a UFC fight on the lawn, but it got delayed because of the rain. Anyway, so I was talking about arguments against the ban, right? Because I do want to give some credence to people watching. I don't want to piss people off too much by sort of banging on, though. I do agree that I wish there didn't have to be a ban. I wish that the apparatus had been set up differently. The world had been set up differently, so this ban wasn't necessary. Because the big tech companies do not give a flying fuck for a rolling donut about our children and about the safety online. They don't give a fuck. They just give a fuck about the money. All they care about is the money. This is what we've got to do. Look what you made me do, as Taylor Swift once sang. A ban alone does not fix the business model, and this is why I would like to see phones for kids. Algorithmic amplification. Oh, can I change that? Algorithmic amplification. Nearly got it right. Data extraction and addictive design continue for everyone over the age of 16 as well. And the policy may be popular while adults, while children feel a bit excluded from this debate. But no, I mean, one of the things we have to do in life is keep kids safe. It's why railings. Let's rail against railings. For a long time, we had railings, right? Where the crossings were. And the railings ended up killing more children. Why did the railings kill? What, you got railings going up to where the crossings are, so you can't cross before or after the railings, right? The railings. You can cross at the crossing, and either side of the crossing are metal railings, right? You have this in front of schools a lot of time, right? Great. The kids don't run out into the road. It's cool. It's got to save their lives, isn't it? Yeah, but what if the railings have a line of metal uprights, and if you're a child's height, you can't see the cars coming because the lines are all in a line, and it creates effectively the illusion of a brick wall that is about the height of a child when you're trying to look for the cars coming towards you. So those railings that were put in by adults who are adult-sized adults who make everything on this fucking planet to cater for the needs of a 5'10" middle-aged man, they didn't realise. And then they had to redesign the railings and make it so that the uprights were staggered in a diagonal, 3 of them in a diagonal line. And that was so kids could see cars coming through the railings if they were standing at the, because the perspective from the pressing the button. So yeah, we do have to think of children in the design of this stuff. And we do need to protect children in the design of stuff. And I bet the same sort of people, they might even say the same people, complained about the smoking ban. I bet the same sort of people complained about the introduction of safety belts in cars. And they would go on about things like the nanny state. Oh, it's the nanny state. Oh, it's the nanny state. That's what they always say. But it's the same people who say nanny state are the people who wanted everything banned in the 1980s. Can't have it both ways. Banned for adults. Yeah, maybe it is a little bit nanny state to stop kids getting access to this stuff, but then isn't nanny someone who looks after kids if you're rich? Doesn't Jacob Rees-Mogg still go campaigning with his nanny? Like a fucking weirdo. Like American Gothic. Or when cars try to see when there's someone approaching. Yeah, that's a good point. Facts, especially in like a very low sports car. But you're right, yeah. I just finished Interesting Times, Harry. So what's coming next in the next 4 books after that? Oh, cool. Terry Pratchett. That's how you do it. Stand next to TERFs with a sign saying they are the ones obsessed with people's privates. Yeah, they absolutely are absolutely obsessed with the private parts of strangers, which is a weird thing. I was just about to make a joke about Mog's nanny state. Nanny! Come on, Nanny, we're going campaigning. Adult-sized adults who designed the Glasgow Metro were smaller than the Glasgow Metro. Do you have to get down? Oh, don't say that, Mr. Tisk. Mr. Tisk has written something. Oh God, that makes you feel funny. Not in a good way. If you look at Mr. Tisk's latest offering there at the bottom of the chat. Anyway, so the experiences of other countries. We're going to talk about this. So let's go through them. Australia introduced the world's first outright ban on social media for under 16s in December 2025. Australia's ban covers Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Threads, TikTok, X, YouTube, and Reddit. Australia deactivated existing under 16s profiles and blocked new accounts. Australia targets companies with fines rather than punishing children or parents, which is the right way of going about it. China uses wider restrictions on young people's digital lives, including screen time limits, anti-addiction systems, and age-appropriate content filters. But then, China does restrict what adults can go onto on the internet as well. China restricts under 18s to 1 hour of gaming on Fridays, weekends, and holidays. Vietnam requires parents to register social media accounts for children under 16 and supervise their use. Vietnam links social media accounts to mandatory government IDs, which raises stronger surveillance state concerns than the UK model currently described. So, we're not going that far. Brazil has a dedicated children and adolescents online safety law requiring stronger privacy settings and measures against compulsive platform designs. You've got two elements here. You've got the harm that kids can be done to kids by paedophiles and by other kids by sending them things that they shouldn't be seeing. And then you got the harm that is baked into the design of these platforms to make them more addictive. Someone like me coming on and just yakking on for 65 hours, that will usually do the trick. And then we've got Indonesia has announced that from March 2026, companies must verify age and deactivate under 16 accounts for high-risk platforms, including TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. Indonesia allows 13 to 16-year-olds on lower-risk platforms with parental accounts. Malaysia requires social media platforms with at least 8 million users in the country to implement age verification and block under 16s from creating accounts. France has not finalized a single model. That 8 million thing, that's a way of doing a blacklist without having to do a whitelist. I think there should be a whitelist. I think that's the way it should work, as I've explained a million times. France has not finalised a single model. Its National Assembly has banned a blanket ban for under 15s, while the Senate wanted restrictions tied to platforms deemed dangerous. So that's still going through. The UAE introduced a child digital safety law rather than a straight social media ban, requiring age verification, content filtering, and parent controls under 18s. When I was in the UAE, Skype was banned because the state-sponsored fucking telecom company didn't like the fact that people were making free phone calls using their phone, using the internet. So yeah, this isn't anything new. Spain has pledged a under 16s social media ban. Greece has announced an under 15 social media ban from January next year. Denmark has reached cross-party agreements in November 2025 for an under 15s ban, with parents able to allow access from 13. Portugal approved measures for requiring parental consent for children aged 13 to 16 to access social media. So that's an idea of what's happening around the world. The experts, that Dennis Ugrin, a professor of child and adolescent psychiatry. It might be it might be a French OU, mightn't it? So let's say Ugrin at Queen Mary University of London support treating an under 16 ban as a public health intervention rather than a moral panic, which I see as well. Ugin argues that early adolescence is a period of heightened emotional vulnerability and that platforms are designed to exploit that attention and emotion. Ugrin also argues that a ban should be layered with limits on persuasive design features such as infinite scroll, streaks, and algorithmic amplification. I said that Say that term again. Did it all right that time. I only just stumbled a little bit. Paul Noblet, oh geez, what a name, interim head of external affairs and research at Young Minds, warns that social media can also provide young people with support communities and useful information, which it definitely can, which is why I want a whitelist. Nick Coldy, the emeritus professor of media, communication and social theory at the London School of Economics, argues that a ban targets one symptom rather than the profit model behind social media. I have a way of addressing that. Caldry's central point is that private companies should not be allowed to design main spaces of social life around extraction and profit. I mean, you know, the town square, which Elon Musk likes to call his thing the town square, doesn't he? He likes to call Twitter the world's town square. Well, you don't have to pay to go into town square. It's free, and also no one's extracting money out of you for going and using the town square. Margarita Panayiotou, a lecturer in educational psychology at the University of Manchester, warned that a blanket ban could drive online activity underground, which is going to be a big problem, especially for teenage boys. Miranda Palin, a professor of child and adolescent public health at the University of Birmingham, warns that children may need a managed transition to social media rather than being blocked until 16 and then dropped into adult platforms, talking about the cliff edge. But the government have mentioned that. Keir Starmer has mentioned it. And then there's the concern of the children. Some teenagers say Snapchat and similar apps are their main communication tools, not just entertainment platforms. 12-year-old, quoted by BBC Radio 4, said she was most worried about losing communication apps like Snapchat. A 14-year-old told, and don't forget, Snapchat was invented to take pictures of your dick and send them to someone and they disappeared. That's why Snapchat was invented, and our kids are using it. I mean, fucking hell. A 14-year-old told BBC Radio 4 that teenagers would immediately think about how to get around the ban. A 15-year-old said TikTok and similar platforms allow her to post performance videos and express herself. A 13-year-old interviewed by The Guardian and used TikTok and Instagram to market her roll-on deodorant business. I mean, should a 13-year-old be running a business? Some younger children say they rely on YouTube for music, art videos, football clips, or sports highlights. And I will point out at this point that I don't want to sound like an old codger here, but you know, my generation survived before these things existed. We still got to watch things. We still got to see things on the TV. Still got to watch movies and TV shows, and we still got to call our mates and go out and see them. You know, some children supported time limits rather than a total ban. But here's the thing about time limits, right? It's all well and good putting time limits on. I explained earlier how our youngest often gets around them by just using a different platform to access another platform that she's been maxed out on. But the idea of just having time limits, you only need to see something once for it to fuck your life up. You only need to be conned into taking one naked picture of yourself at the age of 11 or 12 and sending it to a stranger for your entire life to be fucked. And that's the issue here. That is the big issue. We're seeing time and time again stories coming out of teenage boys and girls being catfished online. They believe that they're talking to someone who's the same age as them. They end up sending a picture of themselves naked to that person, and then that person says, right, I'm going to extort this money out of you, or I'm going to send this picture to your parents and all your chat groups. And then those kids are going and stealing their parents' credit cards and giving them the stranger the credit card number so they can take all the money out, max out that credit card. Thousands and thousands of pounds. Because they're so fucking terrified. There was one story where a child took his own life because of an extortion attempt like this. Time limit ain't going to fucking help with that. I mean, this is serious, serious shit. We're talking about life and death of children. It's not a game. And the social media companies are so fucking responsible. They're so on the hook for this, and they so don't give a fuck. So we have to make them. SG, thank you very much. My 2p worth. We need to bring in the ban for kids that are currently 9 to 10 years old, so existing teenagers don't feel like something is being taken away. Hey, listen, SG, yeah, I've got an 11-year-old stepdaughter, and so she's right in the middle of this. They've just banned phones in school, right? So she's in senior school, right? Or secondary school, high school, whatever the fuck you call it these days. And they've just instituted the ban of using phones on school premises completely. So much so as there are teachers at the gate, and if you walk into the school holding your phone, using the phone, they will take the phone off you. There are certain exceptions when you are allowed to use the phone in emergency situations, but other than that, the phone will be taken off you, and you cannot pick it up at the end of the day. Your parent has to pick it up at the end of the day. And they just have to adjust, they just have to adjust. Sorry, but that's the way it is. I had to adjust to not having Twitter anymore because Elon Musk took it over and I fucked it for everyone. I had to adjust to not using Pokemon Go anymore or playing it anymore because fucking it got taken over by some gobshite from Saudi Arabia and then sold all the information off to a company that makes drones and delivery bots, and drones can use the information uploaded to it by people playing Pokemon all over the world, millions of landmarks that have been mapped in order to make the drone delivery, or that could be a package or it could be a bomb, deadly fucking accurate. Thanks for that. So yeah, I had to stop using that. I had to stop using the MySpace. Lost my MySpace account. Had to stop using Friends Reunited when that sort of went kaput. Not that I was using it up to the point where it went kaput, but you move on. Some platforms live, they die. It's not. I don't really care. Some things are accessible and some things aren't. So yeah, the several children disliked YouTube Kids because they saw it as too limited or childish. One 12-year-old interviewed by The Guardian supported the full ban because he saw social media as addictive and damaging to friendship and mental health, which I completely agree. So YouTube Kids, limited and childish, I kind of agree with that to a certain level. I do think that there should be more teen-based videos. So yeah, maybe there needs to be a YouTube Teen, so that there is stuff relevant to teenagers. Because yeah, YouTube Kids is a bit childish because it's meant for kids up down to the age of like fucking 5 or something. I mean, so there's a lot of kids stuff on there that is for younger kids, and I can see 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds just looking at this going, fucking why am I stuck on C fucking BBs here? And the strongest argument against the ban is not we want endless scrolling. It's about communication and creativity, learning, social participation, stuff that could still exist in a model that had these safeguards baked in, but we don't live in that world at the moment. And so, like, I welcome this ban. I've changed my mind on it. At first, when Australia did it, I was like, it won't work. It's got to be shit. People find ways around it. But the current system has failed us. End of. It's failed us. As children, parents, it's failed us. SG, thank you very much for the £5. On the other hand, when I have to tell my daughter enough, better that the government is the bad guy rather than me. Yes, SG, absolutely. And I'll bring this on to the smoking ban. It's not the person who owns the pub who's telling you can't fucking smoke. It's the government. Sorry, mate. It's the law. It's the law. Sorry, mate. It's the law. It's the law. You're not the bad guy. I'll let you smoke. I'll let you get everyone. I'll let everyone in this room die of painful and horrific lung cancer. At the time, had a 90% mortality rate. Fucking hell. Yeah, or heart disease, emphysema, name your poison, pick your poison, name your flavour. Yeah, no, not the bad guy anymore. I don't want to be the bad guy. I want to say, no, you can't have that because the government says you can't. Back and bum wax. Says L. Sorry, just thinking of ways to pass the bottom inspection. Got to make sure it's your Nipsey is nice and clean. Radio 1 interviewed 6 formers about the ban. They're over 16, for fuck's sake. Well, there you go. What about parents who use their children to make money on YouTube vids? Not sure how I feel about that. Yeah, that should be banned. Should be absolutely fucking banned. No fucking way that should happen. It's exploitative. It's absolutely massively exploitative. I mean, you could make an argument for the kid keeping the money themselves, but they hardly ever do that. In the same way there needs to be protections against child actors not protection against child actors. Oh, there's marauding child actors running down the streets, killing everyone. No, there needs to be protection against child actors being exploited by their parents or guardians. In that respect, you've heard loads of stories about parents who've taken the money off got the kids to act, or the kids get into acting and then taking the money off them. Um, so yeah, I want to make it clear that I'm not anti-technology. I'm not a Luddite. You know, I'm an early adopter of a lot of things. I use tech all the time. I don't have a problem with it. The same, I don't have a problem with the concept of AI existing, and I do use AI for certain things. I don't think it should be banned, but I do want it regulated because there are vulnerable people out there. And I don't live in a world where I walk around with me fucking, me thumbs in my lapels, going, I'm all right, Jack. I do actually give a fuck about the other people that I share this island with. I give a fuck about the other people that I share this fucking planet with. And just because it's all right for me, just because I turned out all right, doesn't mean it should be inflicted on other people because they might not turn out all right. Hate that when people talk about, smacking kids. Oh, I turned out all right. My dad used to give me a clip round the ear. I turned out all right. Like, you clearly didn't, mate. You're voting for fucking refuck, you daft twat. But yeah, so yeah, I just want to say I'm not anti-technology, but I am anti these big social media platforms causing people to get addicted to infinite scrolling. The addictive design, the unsafe contact systems, which bothers me so much. Not the technology itself, but the fact that if your kid has got WhatsApp, anyone can send a text to them. They can be put in a group. At the moment, the way it's set up, they can be added to a WhatsApp group against their will. They won't have to give permission for it. And in that group could be a paedophile. And then now that paedophile has that kid's phone number. And now can text them using just normal phone text to say, hey, I'm a little girl. Do you want to come and meet me in the park at 9 o'clock tonight? Do you know what I mean? I turned out all right is just survivor's bias. Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't think that COVID was a real thing because I didn't die. Books have arrived and I've changed my mind. Instead of pizza, I fancy a cozy roast. Ooh, that sounds good. They're little and there's a bunch of them. They're like mini zombies. No bum waxing required. Save us from the child actors. Child actors saying it's like Village of the Damned. These blonde-haired kids just staring at you. Social media ban, less safe spaces for LGBTQ plus youth, widespread radicalization and tech competence born of ban evasion, over 16s employed by state surveillance, a generation who will never vote for Labour Party, annoyed by state surveillance. Well, I mean, I Black Dot Dot, I agree that there is a lot to be said for allowing for safe spaces. I mean, once you're 16, I do believe that. But also, as I said earlier, I don't know if you missed it earlier, I was talking about the fact that we need more mental health support, more societal support, especially for LGBT plus kids. That exists in reality, not in social media. And if kids can't talk to their parents or they can't talk to their peers, there needs to be someone they can talk to. Unfortunately, our government's going completely the other way in that direction and bringing in a new version of Section 28, where if it was that if you said, you were trans and you used the toilets that you wanted to use in school as a teenager, now that's not going to be permissible and kids are going to get into trouble for using the wrong I don't know what's going to happen. It's an absolute fucking mess, to be honest with you. But I do welcome this ban. I genuinely welcome it, as like I say, as a stepfather to two young kids. One's 15, one's 11. I mean, fucking hell, I'm right in the middle of this. And at the moment, the internet is a fucking wild west. And the few good things that have come from social media do not outweigh the fact that at the moment sexual predators can access the private spaces of children, that they can text them in the middle of the fucking night, and there's fuck all as a parent you can do about it unless you keep an eye on your kid's phone all the fucking time. Gallifreyan Red, we're never ever going to get good health support from trans kids from pretty much any prospective government now, though. I don't know, Gallifreyan Red. I'm hopeful, and I know I can see how you feel about this, and Block Dot feels about this, and Elle and everyone else in the chat who's having to live through this fucking nightmare. But I am hopeful that this is opening people's eyes up to the actual fucking horror of what these transphobes, the world that they want to create, is horrific. It's absolutely horrific. I'm hoping people watch Tiptoe and it opens their eyes to the amount of abuse that people are being radicalized online. Adults are being radicalized online. I'm hoping that Tiptoe starts a conversation that is desperately needed. That we had, with adolescents a couple of years ago, and we had with, was it last year? Yeah, last year with adolescents on a similar topic of radicalization online. We've had a radicalization of TERFs online, and it's got to stop. It's got to stop. They've got to bring in protections to protect people from this, because not everyone's as smart as you and me. Not everyone can see through this bullshit. Well, they fall for it. People fall for shit all the time. A sucker's born every minute. But yeah, this yeah, like I said, I want this to target adult social media platforms, addictive design, and unsafe contact systems. They are my three big priorities here. And big tech should be punished for failing to create child-safe environments despite years of warning. And in the same way that the government should be punished for, failing to create trans-safe environments despite years of fucking warnings. But yeah, that's another issue at the moment. Companies should not be allowed to profit from children's attention and then blame parents when harm occurs. And the ban should be treated as the floor, not the ceiling. Absolutely. The next stage should be mandatory child-safe product design. Safer feeds, no addictive loops, no stranger contact, no behavioral advertising, no manipulative notifications, no autoplay by default. Tech companies should be required to build genuinely age-appropriate versions of their products, rather than simply excluding children from adult products. Phone manufacturers and operating system providers should be pressured into creating proper child-safe phones, communications, maps, music, school tools, camera, emergency access, but no algorithmic social media fucking feeds. No Snapchat, send a picture of your dick to a stranger and then it disappears after a few seconds, does it? Oh, it turns out they took a fucking screen grab of it. Can't stop them doing that. Oh no, it's all right. There's a thing in there stops you taking screen grabs. Okay, I'll get another phone, take a picture of my screen. Got it. Send it to all your mates, all your fucking family, or give me loads of money. Child-safe phone should not mean a toy phone. It should mean a real device designed around safety, privacy, education, communication, and limited autonomy. And parents should not have to be full-time digital security experts to protect their children. We've got enough shit going on right now. Thank you very much. Without more added things. I'm fed up of retired old fuckers going, oh, well, you should take more responsibility on what your children are looking at. You can't watch them 24/7. You've got 2 kids. You're going to watch 2 kids 24/7. How are you going to get on with your life? Fuck's sake. These people, they don't live in the real world, I tell you. But yeah, schools should not be expected to manage the problems that are created by these companies whose business model depends on outrage farming, addiction, attention capture. The government must avoid handing big tech a loophole where companies can claim compliance while still continuing to build harmful features into the adult versions of these platforms. And then claiming they're safeguarding children by what? Facial recognition? Do you want to give your children's face fucking scans to fucking what's it called? To Palantir to use? God knows what they'll use it for. And this policy should include strict penalties, like really severe penalties for platforms that repeatedly allow under 16s onto the banned services. The policy should also include regular independent audits of platform design, not just age checks. Because I think this needs to go further, because I do think that adults need to be protected at a certain level from misinformation, disinformation, and the mindless fucking scroll. Do you know what we're seeing in the last 10 years? A massive fucking increase in dementia rates. Early onset dementia. 30s, and people in their 30s, people in their 40s. And they think this has got to be linked to social media. And whether YouTube is fully covered, partly exempted, or split between YouTube and YouTube Kids, we need to look into that. Whether Reddit, Twitch, Kick, and gaming chat systems are included in practice in this, and how you make sure that those game adjacent ways of meeting people online. I think that's got to be it. I think that's got to be the red line. We have to have devices that kids can't meet people who they don't know online, because that's just letting them go play in a room full of fucking, a building full of pedophiles. Go play, Timmy. Have a great time in that building full of fucking pedophiles. Don't get pedoed. We've got to talk about whether WhatsApp and private messaging apps remain outside the ban, whether platforms are allowed to use weak self-declaration systems, or whether we actually go full hog and say, listen, if you do not make sure that there are no under 16s using your platform, we are gonna fine you for each and every single under 16-year-old that accesses the system. That'll put a fucking rocket under them, wouldn't it? And we need to talk about privacy risks for age verification. And this is where my argument against what they're doing comes in. Like, I do worry about age verification and how it's performed, how they go about verifying someone's age. I don't want them to scan children's faces and decide whether they look old enough. It seems too arbitrary, and I don't want them to use that fucking data. It's a GDPR fucking nightmare. But if they had phones that couldn't access the adult fucking apps, sorry to bang on about my idea because it's the best idea, but it is the best idea in this situation. And don't forget, this won't just be Britain doing it. You're already seeing around the world. Do you think these governments around the world, in Brazil, in Japan, and Singapore, they won't jump at the chance of saying, okay, we're going to have a separate phone for kids? End of. $1 million per child, says this. Yeah, absolutely. Gallifreyan then. Graham, you may understand how much YouTube did to segregate the children away and YouTube Kids. Yeah, but YouTube Kids is really addictive. It does need to be looked at, and there is the problem that older teenagers are not interested in a lot of the stuff that's on YouTube Kids. Also, there's a lot of stuff on YouTube Kids that pushes products towards kids. We get hassled to go to Boots and buy some fucking face moisturizer or some such shite for 50 quid a pop. It's been advertised to the kids on YouTube. Content is usually aimed at kids, is also usually trash, and especially TikTok. It's just mind-numbing content. My kids will spend all day on the internet given half a chance, says Ryan. Yeah, same here. Same here with my kids. Same here. Am I the only one who believes that platforms should request age verification from government portals? Yes, I think that with porn as well. If you're going to have an age verification thing, it should be something where it's not given to private companies to have your details, because I do find it a bit like, okay, what are you going to do, right? You've got to give your credit card details to a private company to verify that you are an adult, or a picture of your face and your name and your age and your address to some fucking random company on the internet to be able to access the internet porn that you want to watch. Or you're going to just get a VPN and just pretend that you're in a different country. Come on. Yeah. And Gallifreyan says, indeed, I'm not particularly pessimistic by nature, but of the political parties, only the Greens have voiced any support at all for us. For everyone else, at best, we're ignored at best. I mean, when we talk about political parties, there have been members of Labour who have stood up and actually said, Nadia Whittome in particular stood up and said, this is fucking disgusting, this trans guidance, it's unworkable. And I've seen clips of Labour MPs actually standing up and against it. Not enough, but there are voices within Labour saying this is fucking ridiculous, and they're not going to be shut up. They're not going to be shut out, because they're making a very, very, very valid point. They're absolutely 100% right. It is absolutely unworkable, this bathroom ban. How does it work? Walk me through it. It's easy to say that something should be done, but we can often not a lot is actually done. Yeah, Polly Donkey, but this will be law. This will be law in April next year, so yeah, they'll have to do it. I think a lot of this comes down to internet service providers who mistreat customers so bad in the first place. We see your regulator in Ofcom that can barely do anything. Yeah. Again, yeah, you're absolutely right. Ofcom is shite. Ofcom are absolutely fucking shite, not fit for purpose. Constantly ran by a member of the aristocracy who seems to be more interested in going to his gentlemen's smoking bars, cigar clubs, with his fellow schoolmates and saying, "Oh, do you hear what we put on the internet the other day? Oh my God, the plebs believe it. Oh look, it's the chair of Ofcom. How are you doing, Mr. Marshall? How are you doing, old chap? Oh, I hear you're living in Dubai these days, you filthy billionaire scum. Oh yes, I am. Oh, I heard that my little news outlet, my propaganda machine. That's being beamed into everyone's smart telly in the country. I hear you're upset with it. Yes, we've had thousands, hundreds of thousands of complaints actually, but we're not going to do anything about it. We're just going to tell you to stop doing the thing that you keep doing. What if I keep doing it? We're going to do absolutely nothing, darling. That's what I like to see. Let's play Wank on the Cracker. Ofcom are a waste of time. Yeah, fucking scumbags. Fucking scumbags. It's just the old school chums. The old fucking school chum system that runs this fucking country. Completely fucking useless. Not fit for purpose. Saz, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. That's very kind of you. Got 4 super chats now. One more, and we will be able to release the confetti cannon, which will be exciting. Release the confetti. Also, we need to talk about whether WhatsApp and private messages apps remain outside the ban, which, again, I have a problem with WhatsApp because anyone can get your number on WhatsApp. It's a real fucking problem as far as I'm concerned. Whether platforms are allowed to. So I can't set up on WhatsApp. I'd love to set up something where you and I can all have a big group on WhatsApp. So, you get a message on your WhatsApp from me saying, hey, there's going to be a show tonight, right? Or, Graham, I think you're a tit for saying this. And I can say, oh, sorry, you think I'm a tit, you bastard. Or whatever it is I want to say, get into sort of arguments on there. That'd be fun. But I can't do that without giving you all my phone number. And I don't mind giving some of you my phone number. I've met you in real life. I trust you, whatever. But there's other people. I don't know. If I made it so it was all members on this channel had access to a WhatsApp group, then it wouldn't just be members who've bought their own membership. It'll also be members who just have never left a message and just watch passively, and someone's bought 5 memberships for people and they've got a membership thing for it. And there is no way that I can suss out on WhatsApp to start a group on there without giving everyone who has access to that group my phone number, which I just think is absolutely fucking bonkers. There should be a thing where I can give a link and I can put it on for members only and you can access it. It doesn't give you my number, but we have a group on WhatsApp and you can chat to me. You can send me a message, but you don't get me number. I mean, again, it's not a problem with you necessarily, but it's a problem with randoms who, will suddenly have my phone number, because once you got someone's phone number, you can hassle them a lot, can't you? You can hassle people with the phone when you've got their actual fucking phone number. And so I'm not happy about that setup. And the only way to get around it is by setting up. So you can't set up a group without giving your number away. If you're the person who set up the group, you can hide the numbers for the people in the group, but not the person who set up the group, which is fucking bonkers. But then you've got the other layer of this, which is that they have a different setup for like an announcement group, but that doesn't give your number away. So I'm saying an announcement group for my local MP here in Durham. And it doesn't necessarily give me her number. I've got a number anyway. I'm part of a different group, but it's shite because I can't get a message off you in it. I can only announce things. No one can reply and say, "Oh, sorry, could you move it to 7 because I'm not going to be in tonight." Do you know what I mean? Like, and we're small enough as a channel, as a group on here that a WhatsApp group would make absolute fucking sense to me, but I don't want to leave myself vulnerable to giving strangers me number. If they could set it up so we could have that conversation, fucking great. But all we can use at the moment is Discord, which I got to be honest, it's probably my ADHD. I find Discord a bit of fucking overload. I just want one fucking chat thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's all different chats and different groups and different hashtags. And I look at it and go, oh. Graham, I think you're a tit for saying you're a tit. Well, thank you very much, Gallifrey, man, for clearing that up. Thank you very much to Ryan Burke there for the £5 super chat and the thumb up, which allows me to do this. 3, 2, 1, confetti! Throw the confetti at you. Take the confetti. Take the confetti and run. Cool. Thank you very much, Ryan, and everyone else who's chipped in this morning. I'll reset that. We will do Boba Fetty. Let's do Boba Fetty. If we get another 5 supers in before the end of the show. I'm going to wrap up soon. Obviously, we haven't been to the papers yet, so we've got a little bit of time. Got a little bit of time, mate. But just to wrap up on this, so we need to talk about WhatsApp. We need to, whether platforms are allowed to use weak self-declaration systems, whether age verification creates new privacy risks for adults as well as children, whether children without passports, driving license, or stable family support are locked out of legitimate digital services. I mean, something like a service for that's run by an LGBTQ plus charity for young people that is accessible on the phone would be fucking wonderful for kids in this country, and we should give advice and help and support. I think that's definitely something that should exist, and a community, but obviously you can't allow it to be opened up to abuse by horrible people. And we need to keep that in mind at all times whenever we talk about online harms. There are people out there who wake up every morning going, how can I abuse a child? And the internet is just a fucking playground for them, to be quite frank. At the moment, social media being what it is, it's a fucking playground. We need to also talk about whether the ban, as Black Dot was talking about there, accidentally makes life harder for disabled children, for LGBTQ plus children, bullied children, children who are isolated and who use online communities for support, and whether enforcement is fast enough to matter, given how fast children migrate to new apps. This is why my idea of having a whitelist rather than a blacklist would be, otherwise you're going to be playing whack-a-mole with new platforms opening up. And also whether AI companion products are covered strongly enough, especially where chatbots mimic friendship, therapy, or romantic attention. I think that's something that's got to be looked at. If they're using this as secondary legislation tacked onto the Online Safety Act. So that's why it's taking a lot. It's not going to take as long to get through Parliament. But also whether the government funds offline alternatives, youth clubs, libraries, sports, arts, mental health support, and safe public spaces. I mean, I welcome the ban tentatively, but the real scandal at the end of the day is it's come to this. Big tech has had years, nay, decades to build safe products for children, and instead they chose addiction, data extraction, bullying, engagement, outrage farming instead. So yeah, ban under 16s from social media, but don't stop there. Find the companies, audit the designs, ban the addictive platforms, and force the industry to build proper child-safe phones and child-safe platforms that do not allow access to the actual fucking the wild west that we are experiencing at the moment. That's my take on it. Normally, I'm not one to hide me light in a bushel, but I do change my mind on stuff. I do change how I feel. I think if you asked me this a year ago, I'd be like, social media ban on under 16s. Oh, that's not going to work. Oh, it's not going to work. It's got people will find ways around it, blah, blah, blah. But in the last year, seeing what's happening in Australia, a good friend of mine's got a kid in Australia. I was talking to her about all this and how the social media ban has been going. And that it's generally positive. I just think it's shit that it's come to this. I just think it's shit that this is the only way that we can protect our children at the moment. I don't think it should have gone down like this. And it seems incredible to me that the same people who wanted to ban the 88 video nasties, no Cannibal Holocaust for You, no Evil Dead 1, they're all on the fucking nasties list. No adult can watch. There's the same fucking people who are still around today are saying, no, we should let children be exposed to all kinds of harmful stuff on the internet. Yeah. Anyway, gotta love an Eccles cake. I love it. Do you know what you do with an Eccles cake? Put the motherfucker in the microwave for 30 seconds. Jesus Christ. Try not to get it too hot because it will burn the fuck out your mouth. But God, a hot Eccles cake with ice cream, vanilla ice cream, and a hot Eccles cake. Trust me on this one. Just please trust me. Going to see my bro. So we'll unsubscribe from YouTube. Still watch on your VPN. Are you going to America, are you, Andrew Ray? All right, good luck, mate. Good luck. And we can move further away with forcing SMs to be less addictive and safe for everyone. No, I think that should be part of it. I think this should absolutely be part of it. How about the government make it so that children don't have these issues in real life? How about policing? How about everything else? I think a lot of this framing is the wrong target, says Paulie Donkey. children don't have these issues in real life. Well, I mean, a lot of the issues that we're talking about only exist because of the internet, only exist because of social media, only exist because of these messaging apps that allow them to take naked pictures of themselves and send those pictures to their friends. On my WhatsApp Junior, not only can you not send any, you can't contact anyone who's not already in your phone book in your phone. No one can contact you who's not already in your phone book. Or it's touch phones. I think that's the best way to do it. You got to touch phones, and then it unlocks that number, and then you can contact them. And then there was a couple of numbers that will be, ones that you can't take out of your phone. They're your parents' numbers, and they're the emergency numbers. They cannot be taken out of your phone. You cannot delete them. Everyone has that. Everyone has that. That's very simple to me. Nice little simple setup. You have to touch phones, but that means that you can't be contacted by strangers on the internet. But also, I would also stop any pictures being sent. Any pictures, any photos, just not. You press on the little paper clip and you can send a picture. No pictures, no documents. You can send GIFs. You can, as in GIFs, GIFs, or GIFs. You can send them. You can send stickers. You can send emojis. You can use Emoji Lab and put your emojis together and stick a pair of false teeth together with a heart for some reason. You can send them. That's fine. That is absolutely fine. But you cannot send pictures of yourself. That's a huge issue right now. That not just paedophiles, but people looking to make loads of fucking money are exploiting. Yes, Graham, cake and ice cream. Oh yeah, absolutely. Hot Eccles cake and ice cream. I want that now. I haven't had that for ages. Joe, if you're ever caught short, so to speak, about dessert, and you've got some vanilla ice cream and crunchy nut cornflakes, seriously, try it. Just crunchy nut cornflakes on ice cream, fucking hits the mark every time. That's a little. Well, the problem is with crunchy nut cornflakes, not cheap anymore. It's like £4.50 for a fucking pack of crunchy nut cornflakes these days. How about mental health support in general? Yeah, Diz, absolutely. Well, here's the thing, Diz. How about this, right? So we find these fucking companies, these trillionaire companies, we find them for every breach, £1 million every breach, and then we use that money to pay for better mental health services, better pastoral care in school, and better mental health services for the rest of us. There you go. That's stoner student food, lol. Says Diz. Cornflake chicken is amazing. There you go. Fave's right in there with cornflake chicken. Is that like a version of Kentucky Fried Chicken with like a crunchy outer coating? That sounds good actually. What do? You crunch up I assume that you dip the chicken in flour and then you dip it in egg. Rip up some egg, dip it in, and then dip it into crunched up cornflakes and then fry it up. Oh. Is that what you're talking about? Is that what you're saying? Because if that's what you're saying, that's what I'm buying. Eccles Cakes reminds me of a Handyman for All Seasons episode from Coogan's Run. There's got to be a mysterious spike in the sales of Eccles Cakes today, says SG. Yes, they absolutely are. So find the companies, audit the designs, ban the addictive features, force the industry to build proper child-safe phones and child-safe platforms. That's my take on that. Right, should we head over to the papers? To see what the papers are saying? Absolute bloody nonsense, usually. Okay, we've got the Daily Telegraph here. How to cut it in a morning suit at Ascot. Okay, good to know that you think that your readers are people who can afford to go to Ascot. The tourist hotspots banning beer and selfies. That's fair enough. If people are going to act like fucking barbarians. Starmer, no more money for defence. Jarvis is expected to receive same 13.5 billion settlement that prompted Healy to quit. This is a big issue, and obviously there's not enough money that we need for our defence, and I think that defence needs to be. We need to make sure that defence is something that is covered properly in our society right now because of Russia. But again, this is where successive governments are just too fucking soft. They were too soft in, when Biden got in America, it's too soft on Trump and allowed Trump to become president again when he should be in a box somewhere in New Mexico in the ground. Whereas Obama was just too fucking weak on on Russia. Russia is the big problem in the world right now. Russia is a bigger problem than any other country, probably than all of other countries put together right now. Russia is a huge problem. It's interfering in our politics. It's interfering in American politics. It's interfering in European politics. It's interfering in politics all over Africa. It is just interfering left, right, and center, and it can fuck the fuck off. To be honest with you. And this is where we are right now, and this is we are here because of the result of Obama not turning around when Russia invaded Ukraine in 2014, not turning around and going, fuck off, Russia. No, seriously, fuck off. Did I say fuck off? I meant fuck off. Didn't say that. Didn't say it, and left them to it. And now look where we are. And this is what the left really need to fucking learn from. Grow a fucking spine. Grow a spine. Go after these motherfuckers, because they will fuck you up down the road. And it's no good saying, well, you know, at the end of the day, we'll have to follow international law. At the end, they're not following international law. Fuck them. If they don't play by the rules, you don't have to play by the rules either. Them's the rules that I just made up. But yeah, coming down on scumbags like a ton of bricks is something that this government's, successive left-wing governments in other countries have just failed to do at every turn. 2008, Russia invaded the country of Georgia in the Caucasus and stole a third of its land. A third of its land. A third. I'll say that again. A third of its land. So if you take the country of the United Kingdom, of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, a third of that is pretty much, let's take England. Let's take all of fucking England, pretty much. Let's take the south of England. Let's take it. Some other country comes and takes your fucking land. And what did it wasn't Tony Blair. What did Gordon Brown do at the time? Fuck all. I think we recalled some Russian diplomats. Fuck that shit. Gordon Brown, and who was in charge in America at the time, George W. Bush, should have turned around and said, oi, Russia, fuck off. Get back in your fucking hole. Go back in your hole, Russia. Go on back into your fucking nasty little fucking hole. Frozen fucking pigeon shit fucking hole. Get back in your hole. Bye-bye. But we didn't. And, you allow a bully to get away with it, and they will continue to bully. And they, if you manage to get a court case against them now and again, they'll use that to make more money, which is what Tommy Ten Names has done. £400,000 he's got from getting arrested the other day. £400,000. How was that little shit allowed to be in public? He should be in fucking jail. Same with Farage. Come down on them like a ton of bricks. No show without punch. Russia has always done what Russia has done, although I don't think they've actually changed that much since 1800. 1800? Fucking 1500, you mean, mate? They've been like this for fucking centuries. They've been like this for fucking centuries. It can be argued that current American interference is a product of Russian interference, but then I might be a bit biased. Well, I mean, the Russians interfered in Africa throughout the Cold War. Why do you think that the flag of Angola has got a bit, a cog and machete on it, which is in a funny little shape of a hammer and sickle? Why do you think you meet people from from Guinea-Bissau whose names are Vladimir, and Dmitry, and Andrei? Do you know what I mean? Like the Russians had a big influence during the Cold War in places like Africa. We don't really hear about this. We don't really talk about it. We talk about US interference and British interference, which I'm not going to deny. That definitely happened. But it doesn't mean that Russian interference didn't happen. It didn't mean that Russian imperialism wasn't a fucking thing, because it absolutely was. And it has been for a very long time, and it is still to this day. Putin is a real adept opportunist. He usually strikes when we can't really support. 2008 financial crisis, 2014 austerity, 2022 inflation plus COVID. He always strikes when we're less able to help. Yeah, Faves, good point. Good point. He should have been put back in his box in 2008. Box meaning coffin. But yeah, interference in politics is true. That used to be something that was the domain of UK companies and government only. But that's what I'm saying, Paulie Donkey. I don't think it ever was. Interference in other people's countries is something that has been practiced by all countries in Europe, and including Russia, to a fucking massive extent. Some less, some more. But you can't say that any country in Europe, you can't accuse them not interfering in some fucking way. Maybe, I don't know what, Andorra, maybe, but not the big powers. They always interfered. They always, argued over, their sphere of influence. And if you're going to get upset about the UK doing it, quite rightly, you're going to get upset about the US doing it, quite rightly. You've also got to get upset about the Russians doing it. I've got this great book by James Felton down here somewhere called here you go. 52 times Britain was a bell end. This should be like must reading for kids, I think, of all the times that Britain did fucking terrible things. Tens of thousands have died in our concentration camps, which doesn't seem like the actions of a great country, if I'm honest. This is concentration camps in the Boer War. Richard Lionheart, English legend, hated English and hated England and the English. He didn't even speak English. He died in France. We used to deliberately try to make people cry on Valentine's Day. We passed a law which forced most of the country to wear a little bobble hat on Sundays. We brought an elephant to England, made it live in the Tower of London with a polar bear, and it got wankered on wine. We beat the shit out of the Welsh for speaking Welsh in Wales. So this is 52 times Britain was a bell end. So yeah, I want this book for Russia. I want 52 times Putin was a bell end. And we can include things like the shooting down of MH17, the Malaysian Airlines jet with 300 people on board, all of whom died. We want to talk about the murder of Dawn Sturgis on British soil, the poisoning of the Navalny, the Litvinenko, the critics of Putin. We're going to talk about all that all the time, all the horrible things he's done. I mean, he shot his best mate out the fucking out the plane, didn't he? Pashenkin, whatever his name is. Battleship Pashenkin? I'm making that up, aren't I? What the fuck was his name of the guy, his mate, who blew up out the sky? But yeah, it kind of annoys me that there are people on the left who will forgive Russia anything, any of its crimes, because it's not America. And you're like, it is possible for there to be two criminals that exist at the same time doing criminal things, and we should feel equal revulsion at both of them. It's not like, oh, well, I kind of like this guy, so I'm going to let him off the hook. No, it doesn't work like that. Remember, the core of Russian thing as the people of Crimea should be able to be their own people in Gaza. It's not inconvenient that Russia can be the overseer, but Russia doesn't have to be in the end. It could be an international court that oversees Crimea, etc. Paulie Donkey. The Welsh knot was used in Welsh schools. Donkey problem with Ireland. The majority of Northern Ireland don't want to reunite with the rest of the country. Hopefully, the EU situation will turn some of them. Also, Martin, there's a lot of people in the Republic of Ireland that don't want Northern Ireland because it's too much of a fucking headache. Because unfortunately, for the people of Northern Ireland, the good people of Northern Ireland, it has been colonised by cunts. All those people running around last week, burning things down, burning down houses, burning schools, burning buses, the Court of Appeal is ruling on the Palestine action ban. So I'll come back to that in a moment. What was I talking about? I've forgotten. Crimea. No Crimea. No crime here. No crime. Oh, Ireland. Some Ireland, yeah. But yeah, there was all those fuckers who burnt all that shit last week. The rioters. They were all unionists. There were some people who said, "Oh, this is bringing the unionists. This is bringing the Protestants and the Catholics together." Our hatred of black people, but it wasn't. Not in reality. My great grandmother talked about the knot. Anyone seen the Rafe Spall drama about the Salisbury poisoning, natural terror attack that went unpunished? It absolutely was. It absolutely was. I couldn't agree. I've not seen the drama. I'll have to watch it, but it's fucking disgusting what they did. Absolutely, and they got away with it. Putin got away with it. Not calling all national Northern Ireland unionist units, though, are we? Not all of them. I mean, look, some of them definitely supported the Good Friday Agreement. I mean, that wouldn't have gone through. They had a referendum. What was it? 71% was it to for it to go through? It was a super majority. That they wouldn't have had those numbers if Protestants hadn't accepted them as well. And I know some Protestants from Northern Ireland who are fucking great. So yeah, not all unionists are twats, but the people running around burning shit at the moment are unionists. The people saying that we need to build a wall between Northern Ireland and Southern Ireland, sorry, the Republic of Ireland, are they're all unionists. None of the no Republicans want that, clearly, because it would put a wall up between them and the rest of their country, which they believe they belong to. Which arguably, geographically speaking, they kind of do. Unlikely that direct action will do nothing to direct its action. The best effort. I'm gonna have to look this up. What's coming through here from this ruling about Palestine action. I mean, the interesting thing in here is what happens next with if they rule that Palestine action is not a terrorist group. What happens next with all the people who are arrested? Do they have their records expunged? Do they get compensation? Yeah. And yeah, what have we got here? Yeah, oh god, there was a story today in the Spectator, the posh magazine for posh gobshites. And it says this is by Charles Moore, privately educated, of course. I think he used to be the proprietor or the editor of like the Telegraph or some such shite. He says the posh are persecuted for their accents. The posh are God, you can believe it. You can make anyone believe they're being persecuted, can't you? If you try hard enough, because when you're used to privilege, equality feels like oppression. Let's have a look. It's still not updating the bar there. She's probably just doing a load of preamble to what they're saying. Middle East crisis live. Starmer says live. Europe live. I don't want Europe live. I want this live. Anyway. Okay. Presumably, if Ireland did reunite, there'd be thousands of loyalists and unionists who would want to come and live in mainland UK. Nah, they wouldn't. They'll stay in Ireland and whinge about it. I guarantee they wouldn't want to come here. I mean, they've got the opportunity to come here. They can come here anytime they like. If they don't like Belfast, if they think the best thing to do with Belfast is to burn it to the ground, then they're not welcome to come to the rest of Britain, to the island of Great Britain. But there's nothing stopping them. But they don't. So yeah. Yeah. What's happening here? But it is mad, isn't it, that the county, the province of Ulster is 9 counties. There's 9 of them, and only 6 of them are in Northern Ireland. It's not even a boundary based on the province. It's based on just the areas in the referendum in 1921 was it? When they had the referendum, it was the areas that voted to stay with the UK. Imagine that. Imagine drawing a little line around all the places that voted to stay in the EU and leaving them in the EU, like Scotland and Northern Ireland, ironically enough. The MH17 was the one that disappeared. I got them mixed up. MH317. Sorry, 317 was the one that disappeared. It was number 17 that got blown out of the sky. Yeah. But yeah, I'm not calling all unionists units. No, I wouldn't do that. Okay, so we'll head back to the papers while we wait for this verdict to actually come through, because it's not coming through on the media feeds on their news sites. We've got face scans to police under 16s media ban. This is what we had a press conference for this morning. Hamilton recreates winning formula. Hamilton won his first race for fucking ages. Lewis Hamilton there, Formula 1 driver. And we had a British 1, 2, 3. We had all British drivers on the podium, which is nice. All of them are dead rich, but Trump lashes out at Netanyahu over Israeli attack on Lebanon. So good. The children are fighting. I wish they'd just leave their disagreements to each other, and they could just have fucking wrestling match or something with each other, and leave the rest of us the fuck alone. England's Wags kept 1,400 miles away. England's World Cup team is determined not to have a repeat of Nightly partying, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Churchill let Indians starve, gallery claims. Why are you saying gallery claims? He did. He did the Bengal famine. Have you got that in your book, James? Have you got that in your book? 52 times bitten was a bell end. Do we have a list in the back? Do we have a list, James? Notes. We've got notes about the author, acknowledgements. Oh, okay. I'm sure that the Bengal famine is starved. Here we go. Here we go. Saved billions. We built a railway. We made women. We used to deliberately. Irish famine. Let's talk about the Irish famine. Irish famine, part 1. We helped kill 1 million of our own neighbours by applying a theory about rabbits to them. We brought an elephant. Caused a famine. There you go. Yep. We caused a famine that killed more than 3 million people. Officials in India requested several times that food be imported towards the millions of starving people rather than away from them, but were denied by Churchill on most occasions or given a tiny amount of what they asked for. That's not what a gallery is claiming. That's what actually fucking happened during the Bengal famine. This fucking gobshites rewriting history drives me up the fucking wall. Oh, David Fulton, thank you very much for the 38 Hong Kong dollars. Telegram app is popular in Asia, Graham. It permits you to set up and join groups without giving out your phone number. Maybe less popular in Britain. Yeah, I'm thinking of using Telegram actually to set this up. There's a part of me that doesn't want another fucking app that can contact me. That's the only thing. I want it all in one app. I just want to say, right, if you want to contact me, use WhatsApp because that's what I use to contact me family and friends, and I use it every day. If someone contacts me through Facebook Messenger or Instagram, it's probably the worst for it, TikTok or Blue Sky or Threads or anything apart from email, I guess. You go on my website. I don't think my email is working on my website at the moment. I need to have a look at that. But yeah, Telegram. Set up for group chat. Okay. I've got Telegram on my phone. I set it up for a Pokemon. Well, I was on it for a Pokemon group a year or so ago. So I'll set that up, David Fulton. Thank you very much. Oh, I pressed on, but thank you very much for the super chat. And yeah, cool. I'll get on with that. From a mate who works with kids online, I think we're letting the platforms off the hook. Nothing will be safe. Safer kids will still be there, but pushed into the dark. Starmer has gone with the way of the political wind. It was blowing again. Could the demand the platforms improve safety design or get banned? Well, I think that he is, because the fines are going to be levied against the platforms, not the children, not the adults, not the parents. But yeah, I sort of the idea that kids will find another way would be absolutely knocked out of possibility by creating phones that are just for kids. And no one so far has given me a good reason that shouldn't be government policy. Say kids under the age of not being able to go on certain platforms. Kids under the age of 16 are not allowed to have adult phones. There's adult phones and there's kid phones. You can have a kid phone. That takes away a lot of the harmful shit. All the harmful shit, actually. And that's got to be the thing that the government has got to bring in. In fact, here you go. Come here. I've got an idea. Right, here you go. Here's a little idea for you. So, last week, I read about there's a guy called AJ Hackett. He is the bungee jump entrepreneur who basically he's a multi-millionaire, and he has these bungee jumps set up all over the world. Started in New Zealand. He's a New Zealander, but now they have bungee jumps in Macau and Mexico and everywhere. Like the bungee jumps are AJ Hackett. And what he did was back in the 80s, when it was a wild west when it came to bungee jumping. It was any carny with a crane could turn up, stick a bit of bungee rope to it, tie someone's legs around it, and then throw them off, right? And this culminated in people fucking dying, most notably on Noel Edmonds' Late Breakfast Show in, 1989, was it, that happened? On live television. Someone jumped off, the bungee rope was too long, and they fucking died. And it was a spontaneous turning up with Noel's production company at their house and saying, "Hey, do you want to do something exciting? Come, let's do a bungee jump." And he fucking died on national television. Huge outrage. And so what AJ and his mates did, they went to the New Zealand government and they said, "We are going to set up the restrictions for, or the what's it called, the things that you are allowed to have for bungee jumping. If you're going to have a business of bungee jumping, you have to maintain these particular standards. These are the conditions that we will allow you to make a bungee jump platform with." And they're very, very strict, very, very stringent. I don't think on AJ's platforms all over the world, well over 1 million jumps around the world, I think there's been one fatality at all. They check everything, double check everything. It's very, very, very safe, right? And in a way that, skydiving's pretty fucking safe. You've got to reserve shoes, and if someone dies skydiving, it is front page news because it's so unusual. These days, people generally don't die doing bungee jumps. Anyway, so AJ's story sort of is quite cool because he was able to make these bungee jumping places in New Zealand based on the laws that he had helped put together for New Zealand, and then those standards got exported all over the world because they worked. How about, right, we have a British phone company? How about that? A British company that makes mobile phones. And maybe in a way they get the parts that they need to put the phones together. Maybe they don't make them from scratch like they do in China, because obviously that'd be too expensive. I don't want to be paying £15,000 for a phone. But essentially they get the parts from Taiwan, get the parts from China, and they're put together, and they're a British phone, and they are made to British legal specifications for children to be able to use. And then you've got a British company, and that's the only company that you can buy the kids' phones for until Apple and Google and Sony make their own kids' phones. How about that? How about that? Do you like that? Do you like that, Apple? Do you like that, Sony? No, you don't? Okay, make your own kids' phones. Until then, we'll have the monopoly on it. Backed by the law. AJ had the monopoly on bungee jumps because if you didn't conform to these standards, you couldn't set up a bungee jump platform. And he helped fucking set them up in the first place, and it made New Zealand the world capital of bungee jumping. So there you go. So Noel Edmonds has killed 2 people live on television. I don't know about the other one. There was the bungee jump, the famous bungee jump on the Late Late Breakfast Show in, I think, 1989. I have a mate who only uses Messenger. It drives me mad as I don't have it installed to log in via browser. Yeah. They're looking for something to do with the big tower in Liverpool, the old St. John's Beacon, the Tower restaurant as it was when I was a kid, the Radio City Tower, and they're looking for suggestions. So someone might have notified AJ of this. So if there's a bungee jump there in a year's time, you know to thank. Right, anyway, how'd you like them apples, Apple? I love that as fact. That is brilliant. How'd you like them apples, Apple? You arsehole. Jesus Christ, the words on this screen, it's a bit out of focus. It says, the Court of Appeal, rule on Palestine action ban. And then it doesn't actually say what's she saying. Can you tell me what she's saying? Can you throw me a freaking bone here? Let's see if we've got anything coming through on the Guardian site or the BBC site about this. Starmer social media ban, blah 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 blah. Talked about that. Roger Cook of the Cook Report has died. Oh no, I liked him. Someone call up Roger Cook and the United Nations. He used to expose con artists. Joe, we should bring back that, shouldn't we? In Roger Cook's memory, we should go out and the con artists online, go after them. Did he kill someone on Brasseye? Yes, he did kill someone on Brasseye. He killed Cliff Richard, I think. I think he broke into Cliff Richard's house and killed Cliff Richard on Brasseye. There you go. Lol, does Graham's Tipex. What? They won't solve the problem of using a PC or a laptop, though. Yeah, but I mean, the laptop usage. Believe me, it's nowhere near the amount of phone usage that they have. I have a mate who only uses Messenger. Drives me mad as I don't have it installed, so I have to log in via a browser. Yeah, I get that, Martin. I think I've worked out once. I'm contactable 27 different ways. In the late 80s, I worked at a UK mobile phone company. Those phones were analog, no apps. You couldn't even text with them. That was Motorola. Yeah, I remember Motorola. Fucking hell. Man placed a box on a racetrack, killed by car, and the old Saturday night show at Mr. Blobby. Really? Really? He killed 2 people? What a fucking lunatic. Placed on racetrack and killed by car on Noel's Saturday night club. It was Noel's house party. Let's have a look. No, if I type that in, Hannah, the only thing that comes up is the November 1986. I didn't know it was that early. 120-foot bungee jumps stunt called Hang 'em High. He was placed in an exploding box suspended by a crane with a bungee rope detached from the box because a carabiner clip was improperly connected. Jesus Christ. So yeah, a volunteer called Michael Lush died while rehearsing the stunt. Okay. All right, so it didn't happen live. See, there you go. That's a Mandela effect. Several give it a whirl. Featured dangerous stunts. Several serious injuries resulted in these stunts, including the death of participant viewer Michael Lush. The show was cancelled in the aftermath of his fatal incident. Oh my God, there's other accidents as well. That wasn't the only one. First rehearsal for another live stunt. The stunt called Hanging High. Blah, 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 blah. He died instantly upon impact, multiple injuries, and later the show was cancelled. And after Edmonds resigned, saying he did not have the heart to carry on. Yeah, he was involved bungee jumping from an exploding box suspended from a 120-foot crane after escaping from a straitjacket. Anyway, so I don't think it happened live on television. I think it happened in the rehearsals leading up to it. So there you go. Mandela effect. For some reason, I believed that it was live. Not that I ever saw it. I was too little. In the late 1980s, I worked in the UK. I've read that one. Our eldest mate lives in Silla's old Liverpool house. Surprise, surprise. Here's our Graham with a quick reminder. I remember someone being dropped in a car and then dying on one of those shows. It wasn't Noel Edmonds. So Noel Edmonds only killed one person that we know of. And that time he killed, he broke into Cliff Richard's house and killed him on Brass Eye. Okay, so we're going to head back to the papers for a moment. We've got the woman dies as staff forget bungee rope. A woman plunged to her death from a bridge swing in Brazil after staff allegedly launched her over the edge without attaching her bungee rope. So it's funny, I'm talking about bungee jumps. So there you go. They're not keeping up to, standards there, obviously. Fucking disgraceful. Starmer urges Trump to drop Anthropic ban. No, fuck off. And then we've got inside the dramatic raid on Putin's oil tanker. This is the British Marines or someone taking over one of Putin's shadow fleet. Germany thrash Curacao 7-1. Well, at least they scored 1 goal. But I mean, that's Germany versus a country that's only got 32 people and a sheep live there. Burnham, sorry, a goat. Sheep, what am I talking about? Burnham, I'll keep triple lock and look at tax cut for pensioners if I become PM. Andy Burnham vows to keep the state pension triple lock despite growing calls to scrap it if he becomes Prime Minister. Not a good idea, mate. Not a good idea. But his last kiss to the world, how David Hockney's return to Yorkshire was a profound reawakening. We've also got PM to announce Australia Plus social media ban for under 16s. Obviously, we talked about that. Flying Scots cheer World Cup victory. Scotland fans in Glasgow celebrating the winning goal. Opening the World Cup against Haiti in Boston. We've also got Jarvis may demand more cash for defence. And the new defense secretary is to revisit controversial plan for funding the armed forces and maybe turn to demand more cash from the treasury, which it's reported in another newspaper as he's not going to get any more money, and in this newspaper as he's demanding more money. They can't both be right at the same time. Trump calls for restraint after Israel hits Beirut. Hamilton goes top as Britain goes 1-2-3, but Raducanu misses Queen's shot. Yeah, she lost in the final. She lost. Was it the final or semi-final? I don't know. She lost anyway. What Hockney told me at our last lunch. Burnham would launch immediate challenge to PM after victory. That's not really news, is it? Raid on Russia. Shadow vessel just the beginning. Good. Take the oil, sell the oil, make money out the oil. Thank you. City lawyers always asleep or on holiday, says US rivals. For years, America's lawyers have been battling against the English for domination of the international market. Now, sharp testimony is exchanged online as lawyers are leading US firms have apparently branded their city rivals as stuffy and always sleeping or on vacation. Yeah, they would say that because Americans aren't big on taking time off. You know, they want to work every moment that God sends until they fucking die. Fucking weirdos. And their Protestant work ethic was just invented as a way to keep slaves down. But you know, let's all keep doing that hundreds of years later. Daily Star here. They think it's all over. The Starmer is gambling with young lives as PM rushed through social media ban. This is the father of was it Molly, father of a teen who took her life after seeing harmful content online, as warning that Keir Starmer is gambling with young children's lives by rushing in a sledgehammer social media ban for political purposes. Now, this was brought up actually in the questions after the during the press conference, and he said that Starmer's actually met Ian Russell, Molly's father, Molly took her own life, and he's met with him, and it was one of the inspirations behind going as fast as they can with this. I mean, it's not going to become law until April next year, so there is ways of amending it so that it is more targeted towards preventing all types of online harm, and not just the ones that I've spoken about this morning. So we'll see what happens. Right. What's happening here? Court of Rule is, oh my God, she's still talking. Jesus Christ. I've never met someone who loves the sound of their own voice more. Hi. Anyway, where did we go there? Oh, we went over. Look, I pressed the reset button. Stupid camera. This stupid camera doesn't understand the rule of thirds. I can't leave it on automatic because it tries to put my head in the middle of the frame. It tries to put my head here where my neck is. And that's not the right place for my head. Dickhead. And yet the meeting with Brianna Jai's mother led to, yeah. Graham, can I write something privately? Says Fax. Well, yeah, I mean, if we get onto the Telegraph thing, I don't know. Telegram, not Telegraph. Jesus Christ. Not that right-wing rag. But yeah, let me have a look at that. I'll get it set up. I've got a load of things to do at the moment, so I don't know if I'll be able to make it a top priority. But it will be nice to just have a way of chatting with you all, like especially the members on this channel, giving you a little bit of extra oomph for you a few quids that you give me each month, so you can actually contact me whenever. But obviously, I won't necessarily respond straight away, and I definitely won't respond after midnight. Not necessarily asleep, I'm just busy. Stop treating pensioners an easy target. What? Fuck off. Mirror here. I don't want anyone else to go through this. The parents of drowning victim Mackenzie Swift want to help save other children from the same fate. And this is the water safety drive when it gets really hot and kids jump in the water and they don't realize how dangerous it is. More Marines storm Russian shadow tanker. Starmer to unveil social media ban. And then we've got finally the Financial Times here. Trump expects deal with Iran despite Israeli hit on Beirut. Netanyahu rebuked after attack. Tehran wants no time frame agreed. Can Blue Origin escape SpaceX's shadow? Makerfield voters put Burnham to the test. Birthday bash. US president marks 80th with fighting contest on the grounds of the White House. At this point, you just got to roll your eyes and just go, whatever. Retro cameras are back in the picture as Gen Z craves a less processed image. Digital cameras are staging an unlikely sales revival for the first time since the advent of the iPhone. As Generation Z, consumers shun the ultra-processed perfection of smartphone photos. This is the way it always goes. We always get a bit of retro. We like a bit of retro. Bromance makes way for pragmatism at G7 summit. French President Emmanuel Macron will host US President Donald Trump and other leaders of the G7 nations and Alpine Resort in Yvon-les-Bains this week. And then we've got Wall Street appetite is in the briefing on the right here. Wall Street's appetite defies global alarm bells. Investors have shown a voracious appetite to fund the AI race and put cash to work, agreeing to dole out more than $100 billion in the span of a few days, even as anxieties about global growth and the Iran war loom in the background. Yeah, because you're gambling with other people's money. Of course they fucking love it. EV targets face dilution. The government is set to water down ambitious electric car sales targets by allowing more freedom to buy hybrids, whatever. I'd rather people were buying hybrids because, to be honest with you, once you buy a hybrid, you hardly use the fucking the petrol bit of it. It become and anyone I know who's got a hybrid ends up getting a full electric anyway because they end up going, what the fuck? Why have I got a hybrid? This is ridiculous. Why I can plug it in outside my house and that gets me to work and back, and Social media rallying cry. So Keir Starmer will today seek to justify his crackdown on social media. Swiss no to population cap. Congo document push. Anthropic suspension. The AI company suspended its state-of-the-art models after the US government directed it on Friday to limit access for all foreign nationals, citing national security concerns. Chinese digital payment bid. Beijing has laid the ground for a digital currency program that threatens to reshape cross-border payments, reduce reliance on the dollar, and cement links to Belt and Road Initiative. I just want to mention as well the fact that you've got all of these newspapers. Most of them are talking about, or at least mentioning the crackdown on social media that we've been talking about this morning, and it's only the Metro here which is saying Starmer is gambling with young lives, like giving a negative spin on it, and saying this isn't. I don't know what they want. I think that there is an argument for more considered measures to be taken, and obviously I've talked through a few of the things that I think would help, but honestly, at the moment, I think something is better than nothing. I know you can't protect all the kids all the time, but we can try to protect at least some of them, for God's sake. Just an email, Graham. Yes, Sfax, you can send me an email. Don't you, Sfax? I'm sure you've already got my email. I'm sure you can just send me an email. Okay, you've already got my email address, haven't you, Sfax? I'm sure you've written to me in the past on my email. Am I dreaming that? Oh, I've written to you. Let me just check on the Graham David Hughes site, because I don't think that the message thing at the bottom is working anymore. Contact, yeah, there's no contact box. Sorry, I updated my fucking website, and because I won't pay Elementor fucking 200 quid a year just to get a contact 7 fucking box in there, it's disappeared. So I've got to redo that. So I will. Now that I'm thinking about it, I will the admin. Okay, what I'm gonna do, right? Just for you, I'm logging into my WordPress here, and I'm gonna try Sfax, and I'll try and update my my website. Oh, it's crashed. Oh, for fuck's sake! Has everything crashed? Have I crashed? Am I still going out? What is even happening right now? Let's close that. Why have you crashed? Oh, mate. Do you know what? Do you know what is good though? I can right click on this and go to end task now, which I never used to be able to do. Okay, so I'll just try that again while I'm talking to you, while it's fresh in my mind, my friends. GrahamDavidHughes.com. Let's try and get in. Chrome didn't shut down properly. Yeah, I know it didn't shut down properly. I was here. Oh, okay. What's happening now? Okay. All right, there you go. Oh, do you know what it was? It was Windows security came up. It wanted me to put my pin in. That's why it crashed, because it locked it until I put the pin in. But the pin thing was hidden underneath OBS software, which is on always at the top, I think, or something. I don't know. But that made me chat window close down, so I can't see the chat at the moment. Give me a moment. Give me a minute. All right, plugins. Let's have a look. Big tech is bollocks. Contact form 7 activate. Right, so I'll get contact form 7 set up in the next hour or so, and then you can go to grahamdavidhughes.com and you can send me a message via that. Let me get that updated. I've got to do some website work this week anyway, so that works out quite well. Contact forms. Let's get one added. Okay, so I'm not going to do that while I talk to you because it's quite rude to be doing that stuff. But Diz, thank you very much for the jump in the chat and the super chat. Yay! I fill up my hybrid no more than 3 times a year. Exactly, Mister. You have the same experience of some of my friends who've got hybrids. They just use the electric because they don't go that far. You don't generally. The Metro giving it a negative spin. You mean that paper that teenagers can freely get on the public transport on the way to school? Wonder why that is. Yeah. You're not dreaming. I have your email. I just don't want to spam send you unwanted mail. Oh no. Honestly, any of you who are regulars watching this channel, you can message me. You can email me. It's fine. Just one caveat on that though. Don't expect me to get back to you straight away because sometimes I miss it. Sometimes I just don't see it. Sometimes I'm out and about and I see messages come up and go, oh, I'll respond to that. But unless I literally put a fucking alarm in my phone to go off and say, hey, Graham, you said you were going to respond to this. I sometimes forget. Sorry. I am a little bit overloaded sometimes. So yeah, don't worry about sending me a message or whatever. Consider it solicited if you already got my email. Thank you, Graham. Always a pleasure. Oh, thanks, Faves. It's really sweet. Thank you. And yeah, so feel free to write to me if you want to, and I'll try and help out any way I can. Right, so let me short code here for this, and then go to pages. Go to this is gonna be, and then go to what am I doing here? Published. God, I got 59 pages. I only got one published because I used to have loads of pages on my website, like different parts of it, and I just thought, fuck it, I'm just making it one page, make it nice and easy for people to find out what the fuck I'm doing. And I'm just just an email. Yeah, I know, just an email, but it's okay. I'm gonna have a look at the contact form here. Yeah. Oh my god, the contact form is hidden now. It says remove GoPro. GoPro. No, remove that. Remove that element. Don't need it. Don't want it. You bastard. You absolute bastard. I haven't updated the bit that says it was lovingly created by Graham Hughes in the last 3 years. Should probably update that. That used to update automatically, but it doesn't anymore because, I don't know, Brexit. Right, remove this, remove it. Yeah, removed. And then edit form. No, don't want to do that. Want to do a... Do you know what? It gives you all this shit when you're trying to do this. There you go, short code. And then we'll put in this. We'll put in this. Come on, you bastard. I think my computer's just not working very well at the moment. It's just not letting me do anything. It's just whatever. I'll fix that another time. Anyway, Brexit. It always is. Right, thanks very much. I'll be back around 1 o'clock, maybe 1:30. I don't know. I've got a few things to do before then. With Graham Hughes, Rights and Wrongs, where we'll be writing in real time. We'll be writing the sequel to Man of the World. We'll be writing Top of the World. We're up to chapter 10, where I'll be talking about the time that I was in Istanbul waiting for visas to come through, and I had 2 weeks, and I thought, I know, I'll travel overland home and surprise me mum. So if you want to join me for the writing of that, please do. It is ASMR. I'm saying that very clearly. It's not supposed to be exciting or interesting in any way, shape or form. It's just to get me my arse in gear and actually write this stuff. 9 o'clock tonight. 9 o'clock. Please join us for I'm doing a show with Scott Williams, and we're going to be talking about mental health again. We've done one of this a few weeks ago. We're going to do another one. It's called Fucking Mental. Come and join us for that, and we'll be talking about mental health, which is an issue that we don't talk about enough, I don't think, as a society. Okay, so thanks very much for watching. Thanks for the super chats. You're all awesome. Don't forget to give me a like. you like a like on this channel. Give me a bit of subscription if you're not already subscribed, and hit the bell notification icon, and then you'll get to know when we're going to go live. So 1 o'clock today-ish, and then 9 o'clock today, and then I'll be back tomorrow for another morning brew, 9 o'clock in the morning, nice and early. And until then, I'll say thanks very much for watching. Hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.